All right, let's see what we got here. Let's get some light down on here. What's up? What's up? What's up, everyone? Wait a second, actually, before I get really crazy into this, give me a second. All right. All right, let's do this. All right. Okay. All right, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. It is now into the holiday season, and this is Frankie B. Washington. I'm a freelance illustrator, or commercial illustrator, actually. That would be the correct term. That's where I got my degree in. And I've been in the business for going on 30 years, I would say, about this time, but I've worked mostly in the art industry, so that would be the industry in large, and then I sort of dabbled into various different things that sort of networked throughout the industry. So anyway, and I sat back and I thought, and I said, hey man, I think I'm gonna wrap this year with one more live video, and and maybe that could be a great way to wrap up the year, and spread my form of cheer out to the artists and enthusiasts, and those that are also the newbies out there who are considering trying to enter into the art industry as a career choice. So anyway, let me just start off by saying that I'm actually going to be working, hopefully try to complete a piece that I started a few weeks ago. Let me take a quick little peek. Yep, a few weeks ago. And the piece is based off of this theme that I've been sort of running for a while. Now, the reason why I have this copy right here is that I cannot, for the love of me, find the original artwork. I got a ton of artwork that I've done, and there are numerous portfolios and placed everywhere. And I don't know if I sold this piece or it's just somewhere buried. But anyway, I could not find the original piece, and so I had to do a copy. And pretty much the idea of the 2014 Godzilla out, and I did this piece back in 2014, by the way. When it came out, I said, oh man, what if I can't say I had the idea. It was mostly people talking about it, and it was like, yeah, what would happen if Godzilla connected with the Pacific Rim, because they're both legendary IPs. And so I said, well, everyone keeps talking about it. Let me just see what would happen if I just draw it. So I ended up drawing the piece, and I was very happy with it. A lot of people seemed like they liked it. It was really intense. And so the idea just sort of blossomed in my head, and it's kind of taken a life of its own. So I had this image of Godzilla, and he's come to the portal through the ocean, and he's about to engage Gypsy Danger and then some other characters from the film. like the piece. Again, this is one of those things where, you know, I look back at my artwork, and one of the reasons why I tend to work smaller size now is because when I work larger, and this was like 11 by 17, I tend to go crazy with my details. I want to just fill everything up, but then when it reduces down, I personally am not a huge fan, because I feel like there's so much that it becomes almost overwhelming. Unless you add color to it, then you can kind of see everything broken up. But I mean, black and white, just looks like everything's kind of muddled together, in my opinion. Again, I've had other people who love when I get all crazy detail like this. But again, you have to understand this is a one-off image. So you can get crazy with a one-off image, like a splash page. But I mean, you know, would I want to do this kind of level of drawing for sequential artwork for a comic? Yeah, you know, if I had the time, you know, I'm talking 3 to 6 months and paid very well for those pieces, and yeah. But I don't know if I would really enjoy it. I think that's the thing. I think that it'd be too much. You know, certain people are capable of pulling it off. I'm just one of those super detailed kind of people where, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan. I'm only a fan when it's like a one-off piece. If it's sequential art, I like to kind of pull back. So anyway, this is where that first piece started, the idea, the theme. All right, now we're going into something a little bit more. Now this happened back in November 2020, this year. And what happened was, again, I just had that crazy idea because I've been thinking about the Marvel Godzilla, and you know, I knew Herb Trimpe briefly, off and on, over the years, and got to speak with him on some occasions and explain my admiration for him and how he was such a huge influence for me as some kid growing up in the projects. You know, my first comic book was the Shogun Warriors, and after that it just was downhill. The bug bit me. So anyway, I got to, you know, express to him how much of an influence. I loved his style, I loved his take on Godzilla. I love the fact that Godzilla looked like he fit in the Marvel Universe. That was one of the biggest appeals to me. He wasn't trying to copy the Showa era Godzilla or be so, you know, hardcore about it and everything like that. I just love the fact that he created his own version of Godzilla, which to me is very appealing. And I've drawn him the Marvel Godzilla once, which was a homage piece, which I presented to her before his passing, and he loved it. But you know, I was like, you know what, I think it's time for me to take another whack at it. So I started doing this idea, this concept with G14, sort of crossing over through these portals into these other parallel worlds where the other Godzillas exist in these other dimensions. So this scene right here was really him entering into the Marvel Universe, in which he's right at that moment where Godzilla is facing off Red Ronin, and Red Ronin, after they've been battling with Yetagar, and then you see the shield helicopter carrier, and I forgot the kid's name who's controlling Red Ronin at the time, but the kid's like, oh man, who's this other creature coming out? And I thought it was fun, and a lot of people thought it was pretty cool as well, so you know, that's alright, I got that, you know, it's feeling pretty good, so I pat myself on the back. So anyway, I said, well, what's the next level? Can I take this? Well, here we go, December. So 1 month later, I've been seeing a lot of postings about the Hanna Barbara Godzilla. And the funny thing about it, as much as I love that show, I never drawn it. Never drawn the Hanna Barbara Godzilla. Can you believe that? Crazy, man, crazy. So anyway, I said, you know what, let me try it. Now, I like to just let you guys know that I did work in the animation industry briefly, freelance, on a freelance basis. I worked for this animation studio called All Jar Animation. They were located in Brighton, Mass. And I was brought in as storyboard artist as well as concept artist. But while I was working there, I got to be around some amazing artisans, animators, sculptors, directors. And so I began to pick up a lot of that stuff, of the sense of, you know, animation, and applying different levels of line weight and stuff like that. At the time, I believe Alja was working on this ad campaign for Marshalls, which was a store here on the East Coast. I don't know if it was in East, but in Boston. I know there was a Marshalls in Boston. I don't know how far they extend, but anyway, they had a character called Masha, and she was like this woman. She's notable because she had this hair cover one eye, so people would call her Cyclops. But anyway, I remember doing a inking test and stuff, and she had these nice bold lines and stuff. needless to say, I'm not an animator. I think that to be an animator, I have a lot of respect for my animator brothers and sisters out there. You really have to be passionate to be an animator. I just didn't have that level of passion for it to be an animator. I was more on the side of I love doing sequential artwork, I love doing storyboards, and I love doing keyframes, and I love doing concept art. So, you know, you put your strength where it is. You know, your passion, you have to follow what your passion is, and you have to, and then devote yourself to enhancing those skills to fit that passion. So anyway, this is my, my try at getting that animated kind of look. So I, got some reference to looking at Godzilla, and I gotta admit, it brought back a lot of that feeling that I enjoyed as a kid, watching it on, I believe it was NBC, watching the Godzilla Power Hour, and just that nice thick line, when they would do for animation, just to kind of, hold all that and hold the color in. Whereas you see a lot of animation today, it's a thin line weight. But I tend to like a nice big bulky line. It just it feels like it gives a lot more structure to the character. The character feels a lot more solid, heavier, denser. That's just my flavor. I'm a kid from the 70s and 80s. I love thick line work. I love heavy blacks. I love cross hatching. I love all that stuff. But still, I'm not going to throw shade on the stuff that's coming out now. I think the stuff coming out now is innovative. I think that is something that that there can be a meeting place. I think there's always going to be different flavors, and you just kind of play around with those flavors and see what else you can come up with. So anyway, today, the plan is, and we'll see, is that I've already completed this part. So I did, this would be part 3 of the Great Godzilla Gathering, as I'm calling it. It's gone through a different name. I think on here I wrote Godzilla Parallel Crossover Part 2. So hey, if I ever sell it, someone to definitely the collector's piece right here, where it's go, oh yeah, you wrote down something totally different, whatever. But anyway, so earlier in the week I just said, you know what, I just want to bang this out so then I don't have to worry too much about this stuff on the back end, So now I can just focus on the back end stuff, because that's going to be pretty intense, because I have to do the Marvel Godzilla, and I have to do G14. And the thing is that I also want to do the Calypso, but the funny part is that I did not print out any reference for the Calypso, so I may just hold off on the Calypso. I think my focus today is going to be on this. I may stop the water line up to there or something. This right here, down here, is a little city. The idea is that, let me set up the story. The idea is that Godzilla is encountering the Firebird, who's emerged out of the volcano, so like a scene reminiscent of King of the Monsters when Rodan comes out. So Godzilla's battling, Godzooky's sort of flying around being whimsical. And this is part of the mountain, so you're getting this nice perspective that's sort of driving down. I actually may knock some of that line down a little bit so you can see a little bit more of the city. So it gives a sense that, it's almost like a going down perspective, gradation. So, it's funny, like after I do rough sketches and stuff like that, I always come in and tweak up my work and whatever while I'm in the drawing process. So there it is. And then there's a little city and stuff, and there's fire. So I want to give a sense that when it's exploded out of the volcano, stuff's blown up down here and stuff like that. So you got total chaos going on. And then you got these guys coming out of this wormhole event, and they're just kind of waving it like, hey, come on, man, what's going on? And Godzilla's like, I also wanted to do the similar kind of thing where, so you see it kind of mirrors, I kind of like this little gag where they both sort of snort, they're kind of snorting. So that may be a running gag in all these pieces. So anyway, once again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming in. By all means, please share the video. I also, I should have added in there my YouTube channel. I also have a YouTube channel which you can find, Frankie B. Washington. If somebody out there goes on and gets it and stuff, and if they want to put a link in the comments, that'd be fantastic. And I'm just going to do what I do best. I'm just going to focus on the art and see if I can get the flow going here and create some fun, cool art. All right, everyone, let's make this happen. All right, boom. All right, today I'm going to be using, of course, as I always do, my microns. So I broke out a brand new micron. It's a micron 01. I don't know if you guys can see it. So I'm trying to look up here. I'm looking on my computer as well, so that the lapse of time is kind of off-putting. I feel like I'm in Tenet. We just actually watched that movie yesterday. Whew. I don't even know what to make of that, man. We love Christopher Nolan, but my brain's still like, yeah, I'm still scratching my brain on a lot of stuff. But hey, man, you got it done, so there you go. Much love. This is a, was it Tombao pen? I can't tell if that's Cantonese or Japanese, but it's a good pen. I like it. And then some of the other usual suspects. The Pentel brush pen, which is pretty good. I got my cartridges off on the side, ready just in case. Also have my white gel pen as well. And that should be it. And I got my other like tools and stuff, you know, just in case I need them. I tend to just go freehand with a lot of stuff. I'm a huge fan of more organic artwork. Nothing against my brothers and sisters out there using you know, digital pads and stuff like that. But again, you know, I am a traditional old school artist. I do use a Wacom tablet, you know, on some occasions, but you know, I like the feeling of putting my hand to the paper, you know, feeling the grains, the grit, the pullback. It's a very tactile experience for me working on paper. And so I don't know, this is just something where I can never give this up. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. Alright, so I'm going with the 003 right now. Because these guys, again, it's showing a sense of distance. So I don't want my line work to be too big. You know, again, I don't want to take away from the fact that the HB Godzilla, Hanna Barbara Godzilla, is in the forefront. You know, you definitely want to establish that. Alright, I do hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's being safe. You know, that's another thing. Be really safe and stuff. And you know, and just doing what you love, man. I mean, that's what it's about, right? Do what you love. And you get too many people out there. They sound really, really unhappy, very, very angry and sad. It's very sad. You know, you should be doing what you love, man. I think that's one of the things that's always been a motivator for me. I said, you know, when I leave this world, you know, I remember once I had this fantastic conversation. I probably mentioned this before in one of those streams, but you know, I'm always a repeater, man. So, you know, I had this conversation with a gentleman way back in Cambridge, and just waiting. I think it was Leachman. I was waiting for Leachman to open, and just chilling. And this older gentleman came up and started chatting and stuff. And I never forget one of the things, you know, and this is why I always say that knowledge always comes, but you got to be there and open to hearing it. And he just said, you know what, kid? You know, I like that too. I mean, I just turned 50, so I don't think no one's really calling me a kid that much, unless they're older than me. You know, you gotta be like maybe 80 or something, which is cool. It'd be nice. He said, hey kid, he said, you know what? When you leave this world, man, you know, he said you want to have great stories to tell. Never forget that. He said you want to have great stories. You don't want to have just simple little ordinary little stories. And what is a great story? I don't know, a great story can be whatever, you know? It can be the fact that you started your own business, you did your own comic. That's a great story. Climbed a mountain, you know, did rafting. It is whatever, but it's something that sets it apart from what you would just normally not be doing. You know, or something where you're just in the same kind of life of just doing the same old constantly over and over again. Repetitive existence. Alright. Very happy. I tried something a little different this year, which I normally don't, and I'll explain. Like, I decided to do some cards for people, some various people in my life. I usually don't do, like, draw artwork and send out. I mean, it's a very important thing. Artwork is a very important thing to me. It's just, that's how I've always been. You know, I'm not one of those people where I just think you just draw it just to draw it and whatever. And I draw it, it has to mean something to me. And so when I do something for someone, you know, I want them to feel that this is a very special thing, and it's just something that probably you may never see another one from me in years or whatever. You know, that's just how I flow. That's how Frankie B flows, and you know, so I'm very happy to see that much of the artwork that I sent out to certain people, certain folks made it to them. I was a little nervous. It was definitely a challenge because I was working on some gigs and stuff, and you know, and there's those moments where you go, oh man, I'm doing this artwork, and then I got to do more artwork. But then I caught myself and I said, but why are you doing the artwork, Frank? You're doing it because you're thinking about these folks and stuff, and you care about them, and you love them and stuff. So, you know, that extra amount of time you put in there is well worth it. You know, they mean something. You know? So there you go. Yeah, old softy. All right, Great Godzilla, man. You know, hope everybody's completed their Christmas shopping. Man, it's crazy out there, man. It is crazy. This is gonna be interesting because I have to pull back and not get too crazy, you know. Especially when it comes down to a sense of distance, you know. It's like part of me wants to really kill it and start getting okay, but then again, you don't want to make it too muddy. I don't know. Posted the other day too about the well, not much, but it just was the fact that I was really excited, very happy how the Mandalorian came out. I have to admit I'm blown away and very excited by it. I honestly am very happy that again, as I've mentioned before in many streams, because I work in the industry, I am more of a fan of seeing the credits roll by and seeing all the artisans that have worked on all these productions and stuff, and that they were able to work. You know, I almost wonder, do people ever do that, man? Do you ever look and appreciate the fact of all these people that have made this thing that you've just watched and enjoyed, or whatever, had such a emotion to? Have you just appreciate the fact that all these people worked on this thing? It truly is. It is magic. You know, I'm very fortunate that I've been able to work in situations where I had to work with teams of people. I appreciate that stuff. All right, let's see. Look at you, man. You're looking pretty good, man. Let's see. I'll scroll down a little bit. Hey, Aaron, what's up? Frankzilla. I like that, man. I like that a lot. Hey, Aaron, what's going on, brother? I just happened to look at the screen. Thanks for dropping by, brother. Thank you. I know, I'm very sporadic, you know. I'm definitely not into the realm of like somebody who is doing those live streams all the time. So I don't know how they do it. Like I see people who do draw streams and stuff, and they do it frequently, and I'm just like, man, you know, that's just crazy. You know, I'm still an artist, and so, you know, I still, for me to eat, I gotta work. You know, I can't be online talking. You gotta eat, gotta pay bills. All right. I do got some future ideas. Hey Tim, what's going on? Tim, another fellow Ocean State artist out there doing his thing, making me very proud. I'm always happy to see artists or artisans who are out there hustling. There's no other secret to this formula, folks. You know, if you have a dream, you gotta hustle. You know, you can't expect anything to be handed to you. You know, you gotta fight for it. You know, I've been constantly fighting for what I've gotten, and still fighting. You know, but that's okay. It's like it's become part of my, you know, my whole thing. Where it's like I know no other way. You know, like Mandalorian, it is the way. It is the way. There's no easiness. I don't know if I really want it to be easy. You know, it's like when I go back to that whole thing when you want to have great stories, you want to sit back and one day when I'm old man, long gray, white, you know, gray and white dreads, hopefully, and I'm just sitting there going, man, I did this, man. I went out and I did this. I did it my way. Old Frank Sinatra, which I love that song. You know, I didn't have to sit there and blame nobody for nothing or anything. I did it my way. You know. And again, I'd like to thank everyone who has subscribed to my YouTube channel. I think I'm up to, I don't know, I think I'm closing in on 190 subscribers, you know. And again, I don't really push it too much, you know. I'm just on it. I'm on it that anyone comes on by here and wants to just hang out and stuff and listen to a, you know, a retro kid just yammering on about the old days, stuff like that. I'm really on it. I don't take any of it lightly, you know. You could be doing 1,000 different things. You don't have to be hanging here. You can be like, yo, man. You could be listening to somebody else or whatever, but you come over and you want to chill with me and some chill music and stuff, and watch me draw this piece of artwork up. So, you know, thank you. Oh, love that sound, huh? Let's see. Tim, this is let's see. This is comic book board. This is Blue Line Art comic book bro. Blue Line Art comic book pro board. Bristol paper. You know, one of the things about it, working in advertising, it taught me about efficiency, like the fact that time equals money. So for me, you know, I'm always trying to find ways to alleviate any kind of time drag. So for me, you know, I used to do my own. I used to go out and was all like, you know, oh man, I gotta get me some Bristol paper, man, and line it up and rule it out, and something. And then it was just like, that's kind of time consuming, you know. And yeah, I got work, I got clients, I got stuff to do. So finally, when companies started doing like the pre-done comic book boards, man, I was like, heaven. That was. I'm like, you know, of the necessities, that's a necessity. I'm jumping on. You know, and I think most pros think in that terms. They go, well, how can I speed up production, but also maintain level of quality? That's business, man. You know, there's purists out there. You know, definitely if you're a purist and you make your own boards, hey, much love, man, much love. But you know, I'm not in that vein. I'm more about like, you know, if I got it, my work table, my work calendar, as I call it. My work calendar is filled, and I'm trying to get the job done. You know, it's funny. I just was I just saw a post on one of the comic book boards that I'm part of and stuff, and it made me kind of sad because I've seen these posts pop up off and on over time, and it always goes back to this whole thing where you have somebody who's been, you know, burned by some artist who is whatever the case, you know, they're not fulfilling what their agreement is and stuff, and then I chimed in, and it just amazes me because when I got into art school and stuff, and even before art school, my work ethic was always about, you know, to try to do a tremendous job, because then, you know, the reward comes in the form of, you know, that, you know, hopefully this person will continue hiring me, you know, and I've always followed that level of mentality. And when I went to art school, the same thing. My teachers kind of fortified that, where they said, look, you know, your rep means everything. You know, that's an artist, or let's just say contractor, lives and dies by their rep. You know, if you don't have a solid rep, then how can you endure? How can you, you know, be able to continue surviving? Because eventually, the thing, as much as we believe the art industry is, you know, this vast thing, and it is vast, it's still kind of small. You know, word gets around, and the last thing you want is somebody or people starting to talk about you in a way that's not a positive way. So the key thing is, just as a contractor, customer service, and the ability to fulfill what you say you're going to do is a mandate. You have to stick to your guns on that. I mean, there's times I've worked on projects and I go, oh man, you know, it could have been, you know, that maybe I'll say, oh man, I might have, you know, did a low ball rate or whatever. Earlier on in my career, I did that, you know, as you're finding your way and whatever. But I still did the job, man. I still crushed the deadline, you know, because I always held true to that. I said, well, you know, I just want this person to understand that I'm that what they pay for is quality, professionalism. If I charge you a rate, that's what you're paying for. Not just the fact that I'm just drawing like I'm drawing right here. You're paying for professionalism. You're paying for 30 years of experience, you know. And my word has to mean something, you know. And if you don't believe that, then you know, then I'll step aside. You know, I've walked away from various assignments and stuff just on principle alone, because the thing is, my principle is like, I feel like if you don't feel like I'm the right person for this job, then by all means, it's not going to hurt my feeling. You know, it won't. I think you have to have a strong ethic when it comes to work performance. You know, make a client happy, crush those deadlines. Now, the thing about it is that no one ever knows how a client's going to be. There's clients out there where you may give them 200%, and they just don't notice it. Okay, fine. Okay, you don't notice it, but you know that you've given that 200%. And trust me, I've always been a strong believer that the universe works in the most mysterious of ways. Just like I said in one of my previous videos, was it 2 doors close? No, 1 door closes, 2 open. Someone once told me that years ago when I was in my 20s. And at that time, you know, I was like, oh man, I don't know, whatever. But I'll tell you, 30 years later, it's true. It is so true. There's times where all of a sudden it was like, wow, all of a sudden gigs started coming. Why? Because the thing about it is, I always believe. I never let stuff like that get me down. Nothing. No. I also am understanding the fact that this is a global market. And there's a lot of people out there. And there's a lot of people out there looking for quality work. You know, it's like, you know, when we take our car into the mechanic, man, you know, we go to this mechanic, this dealership, because they do quality work. You know, that you know, quality, you know, you go in and people are talking and engaging you and stuff like that. I know that if we have an issue, we can go to them and talk to them about the issue. You know, I tell any future people out there, you know, that if that's what you should be looking for, if you want talent, look for people that have these kind of qualities. Check their resumes. Does anyone check resumes anymore? I always wondered that. Has resumes become obsolete? Yeah, recommendations, have those become obsolete? I don't know. You guys tell me. I don't know. Godzilla, his recommendations become obsolete? Godzilla's like, whatever, dude. Alright. Now, let's get back to some art talk. My feeling is that when you're drawing stuff, you know, be relaxed, be calm. Don't overthink stuff. I see a lot of people too. I see posts where people are just, I feel like they're overthinking a lot of stuff. They're trying to be so super perfect. And again, I do remember having this conversation at the last video too, where you know, people beating themselves up so bad that they don't end up doing nothing. You know, which I think is a disservice. I think that the thing about it is that, you know, I walk into this and I'm having fun. Like right now, this is fun for me. I'm sitting here drawing a character that, well, iteration of a character. Iterations of a character who I grew up watching on Creature Level Feature. And do a shout out, Creature Level Feature guys, and it just blows my mind. I am excited and ecstatic that Godzilla has been able to endure so long that now newer generations are finding out and enjoying the character. It's a great time. I don't know if anybody saw that posting by IDW. They're doing like a children's version of Godzilla. Hey, whatever works, man. Yeah, I don't throw no shade on any of that stuff. I'd rather the IPs get utilized than not. But also in the mix, I also think that I've been seeing a lot of indie stuff coming out and stuff. which is Great Kaiju related. I'm actually, don't tell anyone, but working on a project with my man Matthew Blair, and we're trying to pitch a kaiju related story and stuff. So we'll see what happens. Matthew's a very talented writer and very passionate, So, we'll just see what happens. I think it's possible. I think that we can find a home for it in time. And if not, we'll just put it out some way or another. Oh, Godzilla. Let's see how you doing. Can't tell if there's anybody else. I haven't refreshed the scene or anything. Excuse me, the screen. So please let me know if you're out there, folks. Let me see. Okay. This is why I know I wouldn't be good on the YouTube, because you'd have to try to communicate with people. Try to communicate and talk to people in the what do they have that? God, what's the name of that thing? They have a side thing where people are trying to talk to you and stuff, and then I'm like, I see artists trying to communicate with them. I'm like, there's no way I could be doing this and then trying to communicate with somebody in the feed. You need like a moderator, somebody to be like moderating everything, and then I can just ramble off like I'm rambling now. Or the moderator could actually be telling me what people are saying, and then I could kind of respond. But I'm not there yet, though. I'm not. My YouTube channel is more for, I'm treating it honestly like a form of portfolio. It's just another tool as a portfolio, just to be able to showcase some of this stuff. It's a cool one because you're actually seeing stuff that are like real-time kind of stuff. So that's the great thing with technology. God, man. And once again, I hope everyone's doing really good. And this is a follow-up piece. This is part 3 in the what I'm calling the Great Godzilla Gathering sort of drawings I've been doing. I started, I'll say technically, let's just say I started this piece, this whole theme concept back in November of this year, and now it's kind of taking a life of its own. So I'm seeing a lot of different opportunities to do some really different, cool versions of Godzilla that I've never drawn. I mean, as I was saying earlier, the Hanna Barbara Godzilla is one that I grew up with. I remember there was one episode we had laser eyes, man. Woo, man. But that was fun, it was just fun. It was what it was, and I'm glad that Hanna Barbera did it, so that they could exist in the mytho, the Godzilla mytho. And I'm still working on using the Micron 003, which is crazy. Usually I switch up on stuff, but I'm just yapping right now, so just go with it. Let's see. I mean, I constantly see people posting all kind of stuff, and God, there's so many characters that I'm catching myself like I haven't really drawn, that I really like. Another big character for me, I think I've drawn Dalmatian. I don't know if anybody might recall Dalmatian. He was this giant stone statue that came to life. Oh, I think they tried to do a Sentai like show. I watched it. I tried to watch it, man. I had a hard time. I couldn't do it. There's certain limits for me, and I just couldn't. I just said, oh well, and I just moved on. It's just, man, Dalmatian is so cool. Like, he's this really cool character, cool story, and there's a level of horror in it, which is great. This idea, this angry god that comes to life and just punishes the guilty. Like, I would love to see Toho or somebody, As much as I love the Godzilla and stuff, it's like they have so many various cool characters. Be interesting to see that. That's one character that'd be really cool, like done like straight out horror. Well, I like that. I would love the idea to see him like. What about the idea of like, I don't know if anybody remember Creep Show 2, and it was an old Chief Woodenhead. He was like this wooden statue, a chieftain, native chieftain statue and stuff, who came to life and he ends up getting vengeance and he kills these people. And I could imagine Damage sort of like going through the movie where it just first starts off like small. And like, human size, like maybe probably like 6 feet tall or something, like just a statue. Like one of the, oh God, what are those figures? Oh, what are those figures? I can't think of it. The, in China, the, terracotta soldiers, is that it? Like something like that, and then somebody finds it. And maybe there's a few of them. Like there's Damaging, and then there's maybe some other ones. So you maybe set up this idea that there's almost a universe of these creatures or whatever, these spirits. And that he's just one of those spirits. And then as it goes on, then he can actually like grow. That could be kind of cool. I gotta give him ideas out. That's something. I'm sure somebody's probably already thought of it anyway. They're like, we already beat you to the punch, brother. I already beat you to the punch, brother. Let's see. But yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Hey, feel free to let me know that you're out there. If you're enjoying it, let me know. Please feel free to share. And I also have a YouTube channel on YouTube. Duh. Yeah, Frankie B. Washington. Let's do a search and stuff. I gotta get better at these. I should have put the link in the when I started posting. I'm sort of committed now. I don't know how to actually do it. It's like you read this to do a lot of like the I gotta straighten that finger out a little bit. I don't like the way it looks a little wonky. To be like a true like YouTuber and stuff like that, man, it's a lot of stuff, man. That's a huge investment. It really is. It's a lot of time. Again, like I said, I'm so amazed when I see people that do it. It's clearly it becomes a job. Like it literally becomes a job. And then especially when you're dealing with people who are artists, now they have to also, if they're doing comics, they have to kind of split that time between becoming like this personality, but then also, doing the actual work. Like why people there. Like you can't skip on the artwork as well. It's definitely a weird thing, weird place. Like, you kind of gotta reach some kind of balance. Yeah. I'm nowhere near that level. I'm nowhere near. I'd like to greet everybody who's just stepped in and stuff, and thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing this post and stuff and letting everybody know about it. This will be year isn't in anyway. So this is my last live stream for the year, And again, it's like I tend to just pop up. I'm somebody who, again, it's like these are not things where I do all the time. But those rare occasions, I just pop in, surprise people. I like surprises, surprising people. I like surprises. Whew. Godzilla. All right. Whew. Let me take a little drink here. Hey, Greg, what's going on, man? All right. Glad you made it. Tommy Rowland? Not sure if I know Tommy Rowland, but he's welcome. Let me come check this out. All right. So for now, I'm going into the Pentel brush pen, which has become my new addiction. And I mean, it's weird because sometimes, like, I know I'm gonna have to put it down for a little bit and go back to my old inkwell and stuff, just because I haven't touched, a brush and pen for a long time. I mean, the actual brush, like a brush to pen, inkwell, that kind of fun stuff. So these are one of those things where, sometimes you know, I have to tell myself to be like, okay, you know, Frank, you got to do this. Yeah. But it's just great. These things are just like, you know, the level of control and power they allow, you know. And you don't have to go back to the dipping and dipping and dipping. Like I said, I'm a very messy artist. Very messy. All right. Whew. Okay, let's see what we got here. So this is going to help to add some nice big, fill in some nice big thick lines and stuff. This is the plus where I love, you know, drawing really small or smaller, which again I contribute a lot to when I did a lot of stuff in advertising. But also, I gotta admit, when I got into the sketch card industry, that really enhanced my skills for working with in the smaller size. It really did. I mean, those years when I was doing work in doing some card sets and stuff, boy, I was doing a ton of stuff with ad agencies and stuff and storyboards, and boy, people were loving this stuff. It was like a formula that just broke through. It was like boom. Plus, added with the fact that my speed and stuff like that, it was like I was super busy. I mean, literally, I was working weekends and just constant, which was a good and bad thing because I didn't take care of myself a lot, so my health really took a hit. I was not healthy. There's the price you pay. You know, there's the things where you sit there and you go, and you know, you go, well, you're making money and stuff, and that's great, but then, you know, your health is crap. You know, and the reality was like, you know, I'd rather have health. You know, as long as I can make money to keep the lights on and some warm and shelter and stuff like that, then I'm good. So my whole viewpoint changed and stuff afterwards. But again, I go back to sketch cards. Sketch cards really helped me to enhance my skill, my whole view on drawing on a much more smaller scale and trying to get information in that scale. So it was definitely a good thing. It came at the right time too. It was really crazy. All right. All right. Oh, who else is there? All right. I'd like to thank everyone again for coming. Feel free to share. I am drawing some Godzillas today, different versions of Godzilla, which is actually pretty cool. Again, for any newbies out there that are interested in inking, you're getting to see a different variation, you know, of what you can do with inking. Where from this point where this is a more the animated kind of view, thick bold lines. As I said earlier, I'm a huge fan of thick bold lines. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, so to me, cartoons had that. You know, the Flintstones, a lot of Hanna Barbara cartoons had that, and again, it's just so appealing. I'm someone who loves heavier lines on stuff, so I don't shy away from it. So you know, but the cool thing is that you don't see all that detail inside. It's more like you get this heavy, strong line work that, and then, you know, some thin line right in there. It's kind of, let's hit that a little bit, just to kind of break it up a little bit. But then you put this nice rich color right in there, flats right in there, boom, pops right out. But then you come here to the 2014 Godzilla, and you know, look at this, just crazy. Like I'm in here and I'm just drawing like these little bits of scales and crap. But it looks cool, you know. And then I'm using the technique of just like using the brush pen, just to sort of, you know, I know that Frank Miller didn't create that kind of technique, but I think for me, when I saw Frank Miller doing, especially with the Dark Knight and stuff like that, and you know, it in Sin City, I contribute a lot to that. And so, you know, I like I said in my previous video, I've never been a person who gets jealous at other artists and their style. I don't know how any artist can. I don't get jealous because every artist is unique. Every artist has a different flavor. They bring something new and different. When I used to do Artist Alley, I would see other artists work. I wanted to see, and I wanted to learn. I wanted to, pick up something here and there. Certain artists would use splatter effects, certain artists, and I'd be like, man, let me just try that out, see how that works. Certain things work, certain things didn't. But at least it got me excited, But I'm definitely not a big fan of people who want artists to imitate other people. I'm not a big fan of that. I think that's one of the reasons why we in some degrees, it's injured the art form. It hurt it, especially during the 90s, I would say, and going into the 2000s, where you had certain people hiring people because they wanted them to become clones of artists that they liked. So they'd be like, well, can you draw like Rob Liefeld? Can you draw like Jim Lee? Can you draw like Ross Patachio? Can you draw, can you try to draw like Dale Kuhn? And instead, you should have been like, well, let me see your work and then see what potential they have, and then say, okay, let's work from there and see if we are hopefully trying to find the next big talent. It seems like an easy enough thing that people, but that's the thing. I think that it hurts more. I had to fight hard not to try to emulate, like, for me, I love John Byrne's work and I love Herb Trimpe's work. So, but then I also like Sal Buscema, John Buscema. I also love John Mitter Jr. I also love Paul Smith, Paul Ryan. I mean, come on, could you imagine? What if I had like someone who had the mutant ability to be like to absorb all that artist, and then if somebody could just take all that art, like all those artist styles, and then merge it into one style and see what comes out. And then just for the icing, you add Alex Ross in there. Whew. I wouldn't even know what you would get. I don't even know what you would get out of that. Just a mumble man. You'd probably get like this big scribbled paper. There, that's not. Oh, Godzilla. Yeah, so I just want to remind everybody else, this little area right here, that's supposed to be what is it called, the calico? Oh man, it's not the Calypso, right? The Calypso was in the Zilla cartoon. I want to say it's the calico, but anyway, I did not get the reference, and I forgot to get it. My mind just, I was working on some other stuff. I'm working on a new comic book gig, which I gotta have stuff due for completed by the end of January. So always staying busy. But anyway, I got detracted and stuff, and I didn't get my references for the calico and stuff. So I don't want to draw from memory of I think it's the calico. And then also I was thinking about having the idea of them being in the helicopter and stuff, but then I was like, yeah, technically, if I was to draw them, the helicopter, it'd be like this tiny little thing compared to Godzilla. It might look kind of weird. So I think that's something I remember years ago, one of my teachers said, there's gotta come a point where you gotta bless it. He was like, Frank, you gotta know when to walk away and just be like, don't try to overdo something, and I always catch myself. I go, no, I'm not gonna overdo it. And again, I hope everyone's doing really well. I hope the holidays is really doing good for you and your family. No one wants to try and near, but we'll get through it. History has shown us that these moments always tend to come, don't they? But humanity is very strong, and people don't give up, man. We can't. So that's all I gotta say on that matter. So I just hope that everyone's doing good and staying creative. I treat my work is like therapy to me as well. I have no shame. I went to therapy years ago, and it helped me immensely. A lot of people can't believe that. They go, "Oh, Frank, you have anger?" And I had anger issues. Yeah, I mean, like I grew up where, and my story's probably no different than any other person. But I grew up in the projects and the ghetto and stuff, and I've seen violence. I've been in violence, and but also it's saying that there's a lot of good people that grew up in areas too. Not all of us are running around trying to be thugs and stuff. We're trying to fight that stereotype of it. And so, needed to go talk to somebody, trying to help me, help me so I don't go down a path that I don't want to go down. And they did. And so every day I find myself, I always use those tools and stuff to kind of help me. And part of that was, it's my drawing. My drawing is therapeutic to me, creating art. But also, I also look at it too as the breadwinner too. It's something that, I do this as my business, my survival. So it's a two-pronged thing. Like me being able to draw stuff like this Godzilla and stuff like that. This is the therapy session right now. This is me just because I'm doing something that I love. And I remember my therapist always tell me, he said, you gotta find the time to do this stuff. Remember what made you happy as a child, and then do that. And as a kid, I love drawing, and I love riding my bike, and I loved reading. Oh my God, I would just read all kind of books, especially horror books. I loved horror a lot. I think like I said, I identified with the monsters in a certain degree, especially the Wolfman. I love werewolves. You guys. But I do. I just love that whole sense of transformation and stuff. Frankenstein monster too is another one of my favorite creatures. To me, it's just a sad story. And of course, Godzilla and then the giant kajus and stuff. I just want to say too, just before anyone asks, that the music is actually copyright free, that I got from YouTube and stuff. So just in case people are like, man, these beats are fat, and it's like, yeah, these are from YouTube and stuff, copyright free. It's pretty cool that they have that. Let's see. Look at that. Oh, hey Suzanne, how you doing? What's going on? Yeah, I had an interview with Suzanne a couple of weeks ago and stuff. It was really good. She's got a YouTube channel and stuff. Yeah, this YouTube, it's tough. It's definitely, to try to maintain a YouTube channel, it's really, I mean, if you're going in for the monetary stuff, then yeah, it's really like, it becomes a whole new job. Like, you really got to be invested into it. I'm more of a, like I said, I treat my YouTube channel more as like, it's my portfolio. It's again, it's a place where I can sort of put stuff like this online so people can see. I'm hoping that, in a certain degree, that it becomes almost a tool so people can see, and hopefully a motivational device, so that people who are on the fringe, who are just like, I don't know if I can do this stuff. Oh, by the way, let me just cut in. I'm using my gel pen because it's driving me nuts that I made this cloth way too thick. So I'm just sharpening it up a little bit, let it dry for a little bit. But hoping that it can be used as a motivational kind of tool, Somebody sees a guy like me on there, dreadlocks and stuff, talking insanity, and they go, oh wow, he's up here just drawing. So somebody like that, I think that's one of the things that I remember as a kid, is that I didn't see too many people that looked like me that were in the industry. They were out there clearly, but you just didn't see them. You didn't get to know that they existed out there until, like, as I got older, as you start getting into like the, after I went to art school and then was hanging out with some cats up in New York and stuff, and I started, Jamal Igle and Gray and cats like that and stuff, and seeing them going, oh man, these brothers and stuff, they're doing it. They're in the industry. They're doing stuff. Rob Stoll. So it's nice. It's nice to see that there's so many different people that are in the art industry and doing stuff. There's just so many different flavors. I'd rather see an industry that has a lot of different flavors than just the same old, because I don't think you can really learn or grow if you have the same old. It's just my opinion, but it's nice when the dishes get mixed up a little bit. You know what I mean? There you go. This is a little different. Peanut butter kind of does taste good on a hamburger. Yeah, man. I remember, what was it? I went to this place years ago with Jess when we first were like dating. She took me up to the Muse. It's up in Wakefield. God, what was the burger? I got this burger. It had like, I think it had peanut butter on it. Peanut butter and something else on it. Oh, man. Whew. Whew. That was so good. So good. I was like, I never knew. I never knew. You put peanut butter on a burger, and it was amazing. So that's what I mean. It's like, you know, someone had to try that flavor. You know, they took the chance, did the gamble, they put it out there, and they said, it works. All right, put it on the menu. That's what I'm about. I'm about that. I'm about, you know, taking that leap and trying a different flavor on there. You know, I had people ask me. They said, if you were an instructor, what kind of people? Well, at first, I wouldn't be like one of those instructors. I don't know if my kind of instructing skills would be something applied to what they have in school now, because I would probably break all those rules. Because, you know, I'm more of a, like, you know, I talk to you to the side. I'm more of somebody who's more of an inspirational kind of teacher in the sense of, you know, yeah, I mean, I can teach, you can sit there and I can say, well, here's the fundamentals, but I'm more in the sense of, you know, the ability of telling somebody, looking, you know, like, do you really want this? You know, are you passionate enough? Do you desire this? Can you, is this like oxygen to you? Are you just trying to find, you know, you just still try and find your way, and you think this might be something that you can play around with or whatever. If you're treating it as a hobbyist, then there's no problem with that. I mean, I think that there's many people I've seen that treat it stuff like this, you know, as being a hobby. But I think that if that's the case, then you have to be realistic with yourself. You know, if you're gonna treat it as a hobby, then you don't have a problem. It's when you're starting to ask people to buy or purchase stuff, and you're not getting responses, then there's an issue there, because now you're crossing over into a whole new realm. It's a whole other realm. You dig? All right, let's see what we got. Woo! Godzilla. Let me put some little stuff up here on his face. It's always so tricky because I gotta fight the urge of wanting to put too much on here. You know, because I want you to be able to see the face. So that's it. I'm not touching that face anymore. Done deal. Once again, thank you so much for hanging with me and you know, and listening to me ramble on. I know this is such a process. It's not like when I do the hyperlapse and super fast and stuff. Hope people don't believe I draw that fast. I'm pretty fast, but I'm not that fast. But this is pretty cool. This is probably the closest thing you'll get to me, like if I was in a classroom and stuff and you're just kind of hanging back and watching me just draw stuff. All right, time to take some coffee. All right. I will say I'm excited that they're doing that new Godzilla anime that's coming on Netflix. Man, Netflix. You know what? Whatever the case, you know, and Toho has a history of, you know, not really sharing too much of their stuff. But boy, man, they're on a roll. They're like putting Godzilla out. The same thing for Ultraman too. I love Ultraman. I mean, I am not a hardcore Ultraman fan, and I know only a few things. I only seen a few little things of Ultraman. I respect it because it's part of the genre and stuff. No doubt. But I'm just happy to see that Ultraman like that is getting love. These properties are getting the love, like they're in the market, in the American market. How trippy is that? Just soak that in. You know, as fans like, you know, like myself, who fans of just the overall genre, this is huge. You know, Godzilla, we've already seen like another, like 2 Godzilla, like, you know, animes that are happening and stuff. I mean, it's incredible. It's a great time to be a fan. No complaints, man. All right, so now I'm going to be skipping into Marvel Godzilla, who I gotta admit is one of my favorites. I mean, look how cool it was when Herb Trippy drew him. He drew him like with muscles and stuff. Like he literally could throw down. That was one thing. I mean, like he could throw people around. I feel tempted. I don't know. I don't know where these drawings, this whole series of drawings, are gonna go. Um, oh, thank you, Richard. Man, look at that, man. You got me blushing. Come on now, my cheeks are turning purple. um, the thing I like, I don't know where. Excuse me, my thought. I don't know where these are gonna go, but it's like every time, like I'm drawing this, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my god, I want to do Devil Dinosaur, and I'll say, this is what happens. This is what happens because then my geek mind starts kicking in, and I'm like, all right, Frank. But then I'm like, okay, I got, I got some comic book work that's coming up, so I got to work on that. So what I do is I just kind of paste these, and when they happen, they happen. But I will say I am surprised that I was able to bounce back and jump on this because I did the first one. And again, I'm just going to show everybody real quick. A little break. This was the first one that I did in November. And this is pretty much Godzilla and G2014. And then this is the Godzilla from Marvel Comics. And that's Red Ronin, Shield Carrier. And technically G14 is going through these portals into these other parallel universes where Godzilla has existed and existed. And it just was a quirky idea that I based off of this concept, which I did way back in 2014, which was Godzilla versus Pacific Rim, and this was based off of some comments I saw where people were talking about legendary and the idea that Godzilla exists in the legendary universe. So why couldn't the Pacific Rim, they bring them together? So I was like hearing people talking about it. I said, screw it, I'm gonna try it. This was intense drawing. This took a long time. I look at it now. There's a lot of stuff that bothers me with this piece. But I'm happy I did it. Unfortunately, I can't find where the original one is. As I said earlier, I have a lot of artwork, and I tend to put stuff away, and I actually hide stuff from myself, so I don't even know. So it'll pop up. I know it will. Oh, I don't know, dude. I sold it. But anyway, this piece, this was where the first started. So it's way back in 24. So you're talking 6 years ago. That leads up to now, to this, and now on to this. And which, I've never drawn the Hanna Barbara Godzilla, and it was really fun drawing it. It took me back to my animation days. As I told everyone, I used to freelance at All-Jar Animation, which was located in Brighton. Learned a lot of stuff from directors there, from sculptors, from the animators there. I learned a lot of stuff from them, and I used that knowledge and as I went into getting into advertising and then off to other stuff like working for some production companies and stuff. So yeah, that's one thing about me is like I'm somebody who loves learning. Even people think I'm not listening, I listen. That's always been my greatest strength, I would say. Like in school, I'll be almost like a Loki, and I did my dirt, but I was always good. Like I did my homework and stuff like that. But I would listen. Like even people would think I wouldn't listen, I'd be listening. I'd be like, all right, and I would pick up on stuff. And I would say that's probably my greatest strength. And I get things done. Like my mom really got that into me, that sense of getting things done. You can play after you get your work done. So those are all the different ingredients to somebody who's a dedicated like worker. Like I pride myself on getting the job done. I do. Like that's a huge pride. Like if somebody hired me and somehow like I didn't get the job done or whatever, that's where I probably be like it's a powerful sting. Like you go, oh. Like there's jobs that I've done where I go, oh man, I even question, I go, man, I'll look at the client and go, do you feel like there was one gig I did? I'll tell you this little story. When I was living in New Bedford years ago. I got this gig because I got hired by Soko magazine to be their what was it? Their I don't know. It's like an editorial cartoonist. I guess that would be it. It was for this cartoon that the owner had going on and stuff. And so anyway, he hired me to do the illustrations for it and stuff. So from that, this company saw my well, first off, Sokol did a cover. They did a interview on me, which shocked me. I don't know why they did, but they did, and I was on the front cover and everything. And so some owner who God, I can't remember what the company was, but they did like they designed playground equipment. I mean, like really cool, like playground stuff in the 2000s. It was like really like, I mean, when I think of playground stuff, I'm like swings and whatever. No, these are like really like insane like stuff, like beautiful stuff. Anyway, so they hired me, right? And yeah, I charge really well. Let me just say that I charge very well. So what happened was I was like, oh yeah, they wanted me to do a T-shirt, T-shirt illustration. So I was like, oh yeah, I was all gearing up and stuff. I was excited. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna hook this up. I remember like I was telling the owner, I was like, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm gonna hook this up, and I was bracing myself to really like, oh man, I'm gonna really dedicate myself and whatever to make you guys, oh, it's gonna be beautiful. And I'll never forget, like, I started talking to them, and they had this logo design that was so simplified. It was a very simplified kind of design. I mean, really, not like this. I mean, literally, it was like me just doing a rough sketch, even less than a rough sketch. And they wanted that. And trust me, I tried to talk them out of it. I mean, I tried. I was just like, this is the client. I was like, yeah, in my way, there's a fine line, because, if the client wants something, then, the end result is that you're going to give the client what they want, But I was like, hey, man, I said, if we really hook this up, I can really give you a major. He said, no, we just want, we want this. We just want you to do this. And so I did it. I did the job. And it was one of those times where, I took the payment and everything, and it was paid really well. But it just left me like I felt like so. It was like that unfinished. Like I was just like, I just got paid for something that I don't know. It just didn't feel like something I can go, man, Yeah, I'm sure I have like the original somewhere, or something, like even a shirt. I think I got the T-shirt somewhere buried in my vast collection of things. But yeah, those are those times where it's like the client wants what the client wants. Yeah, that's one thing I've learned, But again, it's my job. Like I'll try to talk to the client and try to express my view on it. And I would think any client out there wants to be able to hear from the contractor to get a sense of what they're saying. I mean, they may want something, but they may not have a clear idea of what they're looking for. So it's up to you as a client to somewhat, offer some options for them. And then, and then after they hear your options, if they still can, then you say, okay, this is what I can do for you, and then you go from there. That's all you can do. But again, the key thing is you have to really respect the mandate of deadlines. Understand it, respect it, get it done. I remember one of my teachers, Charlie, would always say that. You start getting grumpy and this and then, and being late at a gig, and just get it done. Even to this day, I still hear his voice in my head. Ex-military guy. Get it done. What are you wimping out? Get it done. 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 That's all I hear in my head. Get it done. All right, I'm gonna switch because I'm beating up my 003. I'm gonna hit the 01 right here. It's a little bigger. So I don't want to beat up on it too much because I'm gonna need it because I gotta do Godzilla's. This is the Marvel Godzilla, so I gotta do his little scales and stuff. So. All right. Once more, thank you for hanging out and checking out my draw stream here on Facebook. And probably people will ask the question, why do I choose to do a draw stream? Because I do have a YouTube channel, but why do I do draw stream here? Well, the thing about it is, I've checked out a few draw streams on YouTube. There's a lot that goes on with those, and the thing is that engagement. what I notice is that in most cases it helps to probably have a moderator, somebody who can moderate stuff. Um, Especially because if you open up the chat, that's what it is. I couldn't remember what the name of the chat up. Then you're gonna have dozens of people trying to chat and stuff like that if they do come in and whatever. And it's really tough because technically all of my energy, my mental energies are being devoted here for the artwork. I mean, I'm not just trying to do a really rough sketch right here and not really caring. I'm trying to invest my energies in trying to produce, a beautiful piece of artwork. So in most cases, I know I would probably need somebody to be a moderator, somebody in betweener who would just sit up there and sort of engage the audience and then sort of bounce stuff, and then I can sort of talk like I'm talking now, saying stuff where people will be like, hey, what school did you go to? What made you get to drawing? Why do you draw? How do you feel about, being a black man drawing, and, how's the industry? Those are all the questions I've been asked in previous interviews and stuff like that. And then I'll just sit there and be like, well, this is what I feel. This is, such and such. But yeah, I think you definitely need, it has to be a two-prong, And for me, it always has to be about the art. The art is very important. I'm not looking to be a personality. I'm more interested in being an artist. This is what I do. I do this for a living. And plus, also I enjoy going on other streams and stuff and talking to other artists and stuff. That's another thing too I really enjoy. It's kind of fun. Oh man. Oh. So anyway, back to the Godzilla from Marvel. See, the Marvel Godzilla he just was so cool. He's muscular, he's strapped. Alright. Alright, let's see what we got. I'm gonna do a little refreshing of the page. Yeah, I see. I can probably put my YouTube. Let's see. Oh God, I didn't want to do that. Let's see. Let me go back. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Everyone, let me just give you let's see. I'm just gonna do a quick little, taking a little break here. Let's see. All right, everybody, let me keep drawing. I'm glad you guys are here. Hope everybody's having a good day. What time is it? 9:21. All right, let me stop John. Let's get to drawing. Feel free to share the video. Maybe some other people want to get in here, and people who like kajus and stuff like that, please, by all means, feel free to ask questions. I don't bite. All right. Let's see. Thicking his legs up a little bit. I like the idea he has these thick, powerful legs. let's try to get the big brush out, shall we? All right. All right, I'm gonna use a nice feathering effect. Let's cross over this a little bit. Alright, let's see. Alright. Let's feathering effect. There you go. Alright, let's see. Alright. Now this is where I'm going to come with a little bit of the scales and stuff. Let's see, there we go. And also the way they did the, you'd always give Godzilla like these sort of black, like his eyes were always glowing, which I loved. Yeah, it looks like they're almost smiling. I kind of wanted to convey the thing like they're just like, hey, come on. You know, I think always the toughest thing is trying to show like emotions in Kaji's faces and stuff like that. So they're not always constantly looking like I don't know, like snarl crazy beasts all the time. I guess that's why I always enjoyed the Showa era of stuff, because almost you feel like you see different other little, just by their body language and stuff like that, and also sometimes the faces where there's stuff going on. Yeah, I don't know. See, I'm going back and forth now. It's my brain. All right, let's see if anybody else is coming here. So I said hello to. When you were a kid, what drawings did you see that inspired you to become an artist? Hey, Richard, how you doing? Yeah, I spoke earlier about, I would say my biggest inspiration would have been Herb Trimpe's work. Jack Kirby's, of course, but Herb Trimpe. Again, one of the earliest comic books that I remember that influenced me was The Shogun Warriors by Herb Trimpe. That would probably be the most inspirational, comic book for me. And then after that would probably be John Byrne, the Chris Claremont run. I actually got some of the Fantastic Fours and stuff, but also his X-Men run. But John Byrne to me was, there's no words. I can't, you know, I clearly am influenced by John Byrne a lot too, especially in the sense of his ability to do small little, like right here in this picture right here, where you see fragmented pieces and thick bold lines and stuff like that. That's all brushwork. That's John Byrne, Terry Austin right there. That's an influence. I would say, again, it's so many, you know, again, George Perez. George Perez will probably be another one at the top of the list. Alan Davis. A local guy that was in Massachusetts, Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan was somebody who I really admired. Loved his style. June Brigman's work on the Power Pack was incredible. I mean, God, man, it's a lot. That's a tough one. But yeah, I would say, just to skim it all down, Herb Trimpe, Jack Kirby, John Byrne. And then, of course, subject matter would be Go Nage, who did Mazinga Z. I'm happy. It makes me really excited to start seeing a lot more artists are starting to bring back some of the old school cross-hatching techniques and things like that with penmanship. I think for a long time you started seeing a lot of comic books and they were just, well, the comic books to me were starting to look more like animated pages because, again, you can tell it's digital and they're focusing on color. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but there always has to be a mix of, in my opinion, diverse styles. Like when I grew up in the 80s, well, not in the 80s, I grew up in the 70s and then going into the 80s. Comic books, there were so many diverse styles, from indie to really hardcore indie stuff to stuff that, you know, even in what Marvel and DC were doing. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy to start seeing, like, people, you're starting to see it creep back in, which is great. You know, I don't want to see, to me, I don't want to see the thin line, more color artwork vanish, by no means. I just want to see a more diverse, you know, ground of work out there and options for people, so that, you know, everyone has a chance to be able to take in the artwork that's maybe it's something like this that has much more, you know, penmanship and old school kind of retro style, but then also, you know, the newer stuff too. You know? And that's going to come down to the people that are hiring artists. You know? Thanks for the question, by the way, Richard. I really appreciate that. I want more people. If you have some questions, feel free to leave a comment. I actually have my computer open and I'm just kind of looking over here and just kind of, you know, taking a quick look and stuff. It's like if this was on YouTube, oh my God, it'd be insane. You know. Trying to, you know, as the chats are flowing by, you're just trying to, you know, keep up with everyone. And it's really tough because, you know, the number of people talking. Like I said, I'm always amazed when I see people doing that stuff. It's just crazy. Whew. Ugh. Very fortunate. I'm very happy to see that Stephen Niles has been posting a lot of stuff with old school artists that are, some of them that aren't with us. God, I can't even talk with us any longer. What was it? He posted some Bernie Wrights and stuff a while ago. Oh man, Bernie Wrightson, man. Whew. I mean, I said maybe a little boo-boo there. I don't like that. Dab that a little bit. But Bernie Wrightson, oh, I mean, there's so you gotta imagine. There's so many influences. Although I think I've always tended to, especially when it came to sequential work, was more pushed toward a more like not overly serious kind of style, and I think that's why I loved Herb Trimpe's work, because it was more like, to me, when I look at Herb Trimpe's work, it just looks like straight out like fantasy, fun, escapism kind of stuff. It's like, like characters things don't have to be so proportioned, or so like authentic or whatever. It's kind of like, he's just like, well, this is my version of Shogun Warriors. And one episode, the characters are standing on. It looks like they're standing on an entire city, but clearly they're not. But he did it, And to me, I think that it's just part of his style, And that's what made it fun. It's almost in the same key of like, when I think about like someone like Simon Beasley, like how would Simon Beasley be taken today? His kind of work. That literally he came out and was putting out stuff, and how would people look at that? Would they look at it and be like, wow, this guy's not drawing people in proportion or whatever? Would you just be like, wow, this guy's interesting style. This is really unique. He's got like one big arm and stuff like that. It's all detail and stuff. I mean, whew. All right. On another note, what was it yesterday? Me and Jess, we've been doing this sort of program called HasFit. I don't know if you guys heard about it on YouTube. It's a workout kind of program and stuff. And it's actually pretty good. And we try to do some stretches. And you guys know, I don't know if anybody know, I had like surgery. It was crazy. 2018 and 2019 were really crazy. A lot of stuff went on. I mean, from the point of me proposing and then marrying Jess, in 2019. But leading up to it, I mean, I had surgery on my neck, which took me out for a little bit. And then that was in 2018. That was like in the fall of 2018. I had surgery in my neck because that was causing me issues with my right arm. It was very debilitating. It was really horrible, a lot of pain. And then going into, we had a snowstorm, and like an idiot, my brain, because I'm one of those people where hard head, sore butt, that's how my mom used to say it. I decided to go out and was shoveling, and I overdid it. And what happened was that led to me injuring my lower spine, and it caused excruciating pain. Like it was so much pain that I had to get surgery in my L5 herniated disc. It was so painful. I couldn't even describe it. And so, yeah, that was a crazy, crazy time. And I don't even know what my point is. Lost track. All right. Now, what I'm trying to do right here is give us a sense of that is shoulder. So there's a slight bend in there. But how do you do that? So this is where you come in and you got to start adding a little bit of heaviness and stuff in some of these lines in here to kind of break it up. A little bit of shadow, just a little bit, just bang it in there. No worries, don't be afraid. That's one of the things about it, like to me, I don't think art should be about being fearful of stuff. It's just like you just got to take the chance and then see what comes out of it. And you might surprise yourself. I've never been a person who overthinks with art. I just kind of just go with the flow of it and see what happens. And if it's magical, it's magical. If it, whatever, everyone has a different kind of feeling when they see artwork, and so that's how I go with it. I do. There's many people sometimes, and I'll listen to them, and they're talking the science of it and stuff, and that's all cool. But I just know for myself is that I've always been. It's been always this sort of raw, emotional kind of. Like, I just go on my emotion. I mean, clearly I understand the fundamentals, don't get me wrong. But also there's a part where that I kind of just let go. I know what I'm supposed to do and I just do it. And if it's a hit, then it's a hit. If it's not, then, in most cases, I'm very happy with the pieces that I do. And especially for clients and stuff like that, which is much more of where when you're sweating bullets, you're going, because you never really know if a client really likes something or not. You just don't know. You hope. you hope that they like it. You'll know if they decide to come back and buy you again. If not, then All right. Is there any kaiju fans out there or any artists? Come on, chime on in. Feel free. Don't be afraid. I like to read some of your comments and stuff and maybe answer some questions for you. Oh, Godzilla. Whew. Folks, it's intense. It's intense. Let's see. Let's move this. Let's see how we're looking. All right. Oh, let's see. All right. Well, as you can see, it's like, again, I keep telling him, I love this character, I love it, but boy, I gotta do all these little scales and stuff, and it's like, oh boy, what did I just do? All right, so the idea is that they're coming through this sort of tunnel of light, so, my whole thing is that, I just wanted to show some of the indication, So I'll hit it with, bolting up the lines a little bit stronger right here. Godzilla's tail kind of raises up and stuff. Now, this is one of those times, because I actually do have the actual figure and stuff, but I got him put up, so I'm just going to kind of go from memory. I'm just going to try to play it by ear, because technically it's just like he's, I want to just give the sense that he's coming through it, so you really don't have to put a lot of detail in there. Yeah, there you go, just a little indication. Bump it up just a little tad, just to sharpen that line up a little bit, All right. I'm gonna clean this line up a little bit. I'll throw a little bit of weight back here, thicken that calf up. And make sure that these legs look strong enough to support that, all that weight. Yeah, so I remember back when I was in school, I used to do okay, let's see. The CKC period of my kaiju life taught me a lot about what people like about kaiju. You're one of those groups loves Godzilla, especially for the camping season. I'm not sure why, but I've always wanted to view kaiju in a more serious, dangerous way and ignore the bits of goof that makes no sense. Which way do you lean? Well, the thing is, Richard, is that I'm all for everything. I think that there's always room, but yeah, I would say that I more lean toward the Showa era, and rightfully so. I mean, the Showa era for me is the one that I grew up the most watching on Creature Double Feature. As I said earlier, when I look at my artwork, I tend to look at, there's almost a campiness to my work. I don't do a lot of like super, I could. I mean, when I did stuff for trading cards and stuff like that, I could get really dark and stuff with my work and whatever. But I tend to like that sense of, even like you see this picture, right? You see this scene right here where I'm trying to make them look, almost like he has a smile on his face. It's very light and stuff like that. I kind of enjoy that. I felt that era for me with the Showa, it has some seriousness. I mean, the Terror of Mechagodzilla was a very sad story. I believe is that the one? I believe that's the one with the, when the daughter, is that when the daughter becomes a cyborg and stuff like that? and she has to die and stuff like that. I mean, they had some serious messages in it. It was kind of heartbreaking, but also that they had that sense of the monster's fault. So there was a campiness to it. But also, I will say that I do love the fact of now going into what 2014, what I loved the most was that I was really hoping that as time progressed, that we would finally get the technology that can really show these monsters in a similar level as a Jurassic Park. When Jurassic Park first came out, I remember my first thought was like, I want to see Godzilla like this. I just want to see them breathing and moving around and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm happy for all that stuff. I think you can have seriousness. There's nothing wrong with it. I think that has a place just as much as the Showa. But yeah, I would probably lean more for the Showa stuff. Thank you for the question, by the way. That's a really great question. And the Kaiju, it was the Colossal Kaiju Combat. Man, what a time that was. I'm always, occasionally I will post stuff. It's always a sadness sometimes because I have the cards and stuff and I'll look at them. It's sad because that's one of those things where it has such vast potential, and it just, I just don't know. It's just sad all around. I think that it was one of those things where, again, it was something where I had a chance to really work on so many amazing concepts and designs. I mean, even to this day, I look at some of the stuff that I did. I can't even believe I drew the stuff that I drew. And that's crazy. Like, I drew it. Like, anytime I look through the original artwork that I still have, and I look at it and I go, I just drew this. And I mean, it's just mind-boggling. And the crazy part too is that I was still doing other gigs too. I was doing a ton of other. I remember one time I was working on I forgot what set it was with the cards, but I also was working on the Bregent marketing Transformers set, and I knew I needed, and that was a sketch card set, and I worked on it had to be over 100 cards for that. Just because it was the Transformers, I was like, oh man, I've been waiting for that, and so. Boy, that was a challenge, But I was like, again, it goes right back to what I said earlier about the fact of professionalism and regardless of what you get the job done. So, I really pushed through and was able to get the Colossal Kaiju Combat cards done, and then also still work on the Transformers set. But yeah, that was a great time. I'm glad that there's folks who still kind of, off and on they pop up and you hear little things about it. And it's unfortunate that it didn't make it as a video game. I'm not a connoisseur on the behind the scenes of production of video games. My only entry into the video game world, actually, I don't know. I was gonna save it for afterwards, but maybe I'll take a little break and. Actually, no. I usually save them for afterwards, but I was going to show you guys some advertising work that I did in association to the GameCube. I believe it was I don't know if it was the GameCube Godzilla. I wish I can remember what agency it was for, but I did keyframes. They brought me in. I did storyboards and keyframes, and I actually was looking through my portfolios, and I actually found them. So I was going to bring them out and let you guys see pretty much what I drew back then in the level. Pretty much the level of what ad agencies were having me do and stuff like that, because it's so different. Working in ad agencies is about speed, and you got to be good. Let me just say that straight up. You got to be good because you have these companies and their representatives from their company. They're looking at this work and they have to be able to see it. They have to be able to understand and be like, okay, we're going to give you guys money to do a TV commercial or whatever. Campaign, do a campaign, and and so the visuals really have to be strong enough so that they can see it and go, okay, we can visualize this as it possibly being filmed or whatever. So with that said, and I'll repeat it again when it gets closer to time, but that the Godzilla I drew, man, looks so different than what these guys are. They kind of don't want you to draw the actual character because of, you know, IP rights and stuff like that. You know, that's just how it is. So, but you can give a view of Godzilla. You know, it gets tricky anyway. So, anyway, I'll show that later. Yep. All right. Great question, though. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Appreciate that. I'm really curious to see how the new IDW Godzilla stuff is going to be. Are they going to? I'm assuming that they're going to go almost in a more anime kind of, manga kind of way. Maybe. All right, let's see. I'm going to reload this just in case anyone's asking any other questions. Let's see. Okay. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming and hanging out and stuff. Thanks for the love. Oh boy, whew. This is insane. Could you imagine trying to do this like sequentially? Oh my, it'd be insane. And actually, honestly, I don't know if it'll work. You know, that's the thing about like this. When I'm doing this level of like, you know, these little scales and stuff like that. Yeah, it looks great. Like at this point, because it's such a large piece, 11 by 17. But if you think if it was mashed down to like the comic book size, and I think comic book size is what 6.8575 by 10 by 4375 or something around that number. This is like a hot mess. It would just be like muddled together, especially if it was just black and white. You would really need color to kind of break it up, and even still, it'd be like, ooh, I don't know. Me personally, I wouldn't like that. I think this works more if it was just a cover or something like that. Wow. Drawing the muscles and stuff. Hey everybody, thanks for the love, man, and thanks for coming by to check it out and stuff. Feel free to share it. Also, you can check out, I posted in the comment section my YouTube page. Yeah, feel free. If you like the stuff on there, I got a lot of videos on there, so you can definitely check them out and subscribe. You know, if you really dig them a lot. I'm trying to do better in posting stuff, you know, but again, I always tell people understand I am a working artist, commercial illustrator, so my main agenda is I gotta work, and you know, and the thing is that if I'm doing a gig for my clients and stuff, you know, I gotta respect that, and that holds precedence. You know, so you know, I'll try to get it out when I can, but I've been pretty good though. I mean, even like this piece I'm working on. I mean, the first piece, and actually take a little break right here, but I'll show it again. This first piece. For those that just coming in now, I just noticed I drew it opposite too. The first piece, starting off on this whole, I don't know, I call it the Great Godzilla Gathering. It started off with G 2014, which actually started with this, which is I did this piece back in 2014, based off of my love for the 2014 Godzilla. And I noticed that people were commenting, and they pretty much were talking about what if legendary, there was a legendary crossover, and Godzilla came into the Pacific Rim universe. So everyone kept talking, and I said, screw it, I'm gonna just go ahead and try it because I'm just tired of talking about it. So I did it. It took me a while to do this piece, I remember. And when I look at it now, 6 years later, there's a lot of issues I see with it. It's crazy detail. I went nuts. I look at it and I can see that I was using my figure. I have a Godzilla figure. And hey, Deron, what's up, man? Thank you so much. I was using my figure, and one of the things about me is when I'm using my figure, I was trying to get every little detail and whatever and like that, and I was really following it to heart, and it just it looks to me. I look at it and I think it's a hot mess. But when I added colors to it, it came off pretty good. But as you can see, when I reduced it down just to do this copy, because I can't find the original piece. I don't know if I sold the piece or it's just sitting somewhere because I have a lot of artwork and it's all buried and stuff. I don't know. Hopefully it's just hidden. It's just put someplace. I just put it someplace. But anyway, his mouth looks weird too. I know. Every time I keep looking at it, I can pick apart certain things I just don't like. But as you can see, it's reduced down, and just standing alone, black and white, to me it just feels really muddled. But it is what it is, and this is the whole thing. Is I learned a long time ago. I don't get so intense with my pieces of work and stuff. Once the work's done, I bless it. I move on to the next piece, and I go, okay, next time I'll do better. I actually even snuck in, one of the things I used to do back then was sneak in RGA, which was Robot God Akamatsu, a super robot that me and James Biggie created together. So I'd always try to sneak the RGA and all kind of different stuff anyway. So some pieces you'll see and things I've done, I've snuck the RGA in there. But anyway, so I start off with this concept, and the concept is Godzilla is somehow being transported into other dimensions. And then this year, I decided to go ahead and do it. I was really getting the itch to work on, to do another piece. I did one previously of Godzilla, done in the Marvel form, as a homage piece that I had done for Herb Trimpe when Herb Trimpe was alive. And I had known her off and on as the shows and stuff like that, and talked to him and told him how much I really loved his work and how he was an inspiration to my life. So I did a piece which featured Red Ronin, Godzilla, and also Jetragar. Totally different piece. But that was my one time that I did the Marvel Godzilla, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it. And so I was like, okay, what if 2014 somehow gets transplanted to the parallel dimension of Godzilla right at that point when Red Ronin's come in and he's about to engage Godzilla, and Jetragar's sort of in the background. So, when I do my pieces, I try to think of these stories. I need a story to kind of help guide me, so then I can help. It can help. It helped drive me into the work and stuff like that. So, I just can't just draw something just to draw it and hope that something comes out of it. I have to have something of a story to help guide it. So from that piece, then came this piece, whereas I saw people talking a lot about the Hanna Barbara Godzilla, and I was just like, man, I never drawn the Hanna Barbara. I mean, I can't recall, and if I did, it probably was when I was much, much younger. I'm talking like high school times where I've ever attempted to try to draw it, but this is like my first time really drawing them, and I said, man, it's really brought back my love of when I used to work at freelance at All Joy Animation, and there used to be a studio in Boston, and just the stuff, the techniques I learned and stuff from a lot of animators there and stuff like that, and just that beautiful thick bold line and playing around with line weights and stuff like that. So this was really fun when I started getting into it. So I'm like, man, this is really, really exciting and really fun. So the idea is that again, and I also wanted to mirror. If you look right here, I'm going to keep this as a consistent gag, where each time they go into a world, whoever's that they're engaging is always going to be snorting. So it's like, it's like, oh my God, who's this coming along? Another, like in their mind, I'm always going this whole thing like, it's another kind of, combatant coming. The difference in this one was I really wanted to give a sense that they're almost fanning him over, like they're saying, hey, what's going on? That's that thing of humor. Like with my artwork, I love a little humor and stuff, even when I'm drawing all detailed stuff. So how do you get this sense of humor with G14, and then you have the Godzilla from the Marvel and stuff? So I think I pulled it off. I showed it to Jess, and Jess immediately was like, oh wow, they're smiling and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted to get the smiling effect. So I'm really happy. And then the ship, the calico, is going to be way back here. Unfortunately, I was working on doing some artwork this month, and I just lost track and did not get any reference for the calico. So I'm going to hold off on drawing the calico, because one thing I learned at working in advertising and stuff like that, reference is necessary. You need to have reference just to be able to see, and so that I can be able to create somewhat of be able to work and draw something that's much more of a what's the word I'm looking, facsimile of what the actual image is. So anyway, that was the the fast replay and stuff of what I've been doing and why I'm doing it. And so possibly into 2021, I'll continue this and keep working and draw up other different versions of Godzilla. Because I got some crazy ones. I actually saw something today that really sparked my my creative interest, and I think I got a new idea of another Godzilla. It's gonna be a tricky one though, but you know it's fun. This is fun. This is what my when I had a therapist would say, like, you know, you got to do the stuff that's kind of fun sometimes. You know, before when I used to work in advertising and just really hardcore into it and stuff, I really didn't have a lot of time. I didn't have a lot of time to do this kind of stuff. You know, which wasn't good for me. My health was really horrible. My mental energy was just horrible. But now it's like I found a balance, and thank goodness, you know, I have a wonderful wife, Jessica, who's always holding me. You know, she keeps me on point on it. You know, like, you know, Frank, you know, get your rest. You know, don't work too hard and stuff like that. That's important. For any people out there, whatever job you're doing, you need to be able to rest. You need to be able, and when I say rest, you really need to rest your mind mentally. You know, the best you can, whatever it is that you can do to just, you know, just relax yourself, man. Your mental health is so important. You know, I value it. You know, I tell many of the guys that I know that have YouTube channels and stuff like that, you know, they're still doing the late night stuff and whatever. And I just can't. I'm on such a sleep schedule now where my sleep is so important. I remember, when I was back in the early, mid '90s into the 2000s, I had no sleep schedule. I remember working 24 hours straight on gigs, man. I mean, you want hardcore, man. I would get assignments, like today, I would get a call from an agency and be like, hey, we need something for like Sunday night, you know, or something like that. That means boom, you're on it, you know. So yeah, you do that stuff, and you know, your mental energies and stuff like that start to just, you know. So you got to do something that's kind of help balance yourself, because the key thing is your health has to be. You got to put that up there as a main issue, you know, as much as the art. And I like this now. I mean, I'm happy that people like yourself that have come by and checked out this video. You know, the last one for this year. You know, I was for the longest time I've had people always ask me why, you know, would I do videos and stuff like that, and I was really totally against it. But something about this year, you know, this year kind of motivated me to get out there and start, maybe doing it. You know. And I'm glad I did. You know, if anything, if somebody out there gets motivated to pursue a life as an artist, use this as a tool to be inspired to take that step, then by all means, you know, I'm very happy. I've done my job. You know, you should be going out there trying to achieve your dreams, whatever your dream is. You know. I made a promise to myself. I said, I have to make a living drawing, period. And I got angry. That's where my anger went, you know. And I you know, I was an angry guy back, really angry back then. You know, I hid it well, but sometimes it would come out. It would shock people and stuff, because they'd be like, "Whoa, where'd this dude? What's going on?" And it was a seething anger. Like, it was the worst kind of anger. Like, you know, and that's not good. It's not good. I needed help. I needed to talk to somebody before I even. You know, God knows, you know. So it helped. And so I'm just happy. I'm happy at the place that I am today. And, you know, and I'm doing stuff like this. It's kind of artwork and talking to folks and stuff. And hopefully my message, my story can be one that, you know, that maybe, you know, resonates with you. And you go, okay, yeah, I lived that life. You know, my life wasn't the easiest of lives and stuff like that, because I've always told people, I said, everyone has a story, and I like that. I think that's the thing. When I used to live in Boston, I talked to everybody, man. I don't care. Everyone has a story. Everyone has an interesting story. You know, one person's pain, in my feeling, is not as greater than another person's. It can be extreme, but if you listen to it long enough and hear it, you may hear some similarities. You be like, wow, man, it's rough, man. Yeah, I went through something similar, you know. I just think the thing about it is that if you truly want to get out of it, then you know you can. There's people out there. The toughest thing for me, I remember, was always trying, you know, maybe asking people for help. It was always a tough thing for me. My pride. All right, here we go. Hope I'm not boring. Hope I'm not boring everyone out there or anything, you know. Sometimes as I'm talking, as I'm in here drawing and stuff, my mind just sort of just flowing, and you know. But you know, I'm just a person. I just keep stuff real. I don't. No, I'm not about trying to just sit here and spin wheels with people. I mean, I could. You know, I can sit here and lie to you about the business and stuff, and lie about that it's going to be this easy ride, but it's not an easy ride. It's not, you know. I tell people who ask me about the industry, I said, in your mind, your first thing in your mind, think of the Olympics and look at how tough the Olympics is to get into. If you can look at that, look at the Olympics, and go, yeah, that's to be in Olympics, you got to be good, really good. Then you're halfway there. That's a start. I wouldn't say halfway there. I say like that's just a start. Let me rephrase that, because it's hard. It's a lot. It's a lot of dedication. It's like you have to believe in your stuff, but also you got to learn too. You got to learn how to navigate the waters and stuff. Pick up what you can, you know. Pick up what you learn and stuff like that. Don't feel like you know everything. There's things I'm still always learning. I'm always learning stuff. There's techniques I've seen people do in just marketing themselves online, and I'm always going, oh, okay. You know? So you got to be able to open yourself up. I always see polls where people say, well, what I should do and whatever for comic books, and it's right there. It's literally people are showing you. You just have to open your eyes, and you got to be willing to say, okay, let me just learn. It's not going to be an easy kind of thing. One of the key things I'll tell anybody who's trying to get out there and market yourself, you got to first be genuine. You got to be a person who, like, when you speak, you got to be someone who people can feel like they can just talk to and stuff. And be like, okay, this person really believes what they're into. I believe what I'm into. I'm living, breathing of that. I've been in this 30 years, man. I'm in it. I'm an OG. So I've been in the trenches, still in the trenches. So I'm not gonna try to spin some weird tale to you, you know. But that's how the people who talk to me, you know, they hit me with knowledge, and I held on to it and stuff. And there was times too with my young mind. It's that young mind where it's like you feel like, oh, I don't need to hear this and whatever and stuff like that. I get it, you know. I was in my 20s before and so forth. But the reality is that if you stick with that form of thinking, well, you know, the truth is always there, man. The reality is, you see if you're working, you know, because that's the hard reality of any business. You look around and you go, man, I'm still at the place where I started. How did I not lead the finish, the start off line? Well, something's going on. You know, you have to start asking the question, what's going on? What's happening? Why isn't things going? Why am I not in the race right now? I remember asking myself that question, and I was like, oh, I gotta learn, man. I gotta course correct. Ain't that right, Godzilla? Alright, I'm gonna switch back to some kaijus and stuff, getting all deep here. Check me out on a Saturday. Who's this guy think he is? I hope there's some artists out here, man. You guys are coming on here and stuff. I hope there's some other artists. Where my artists at? Writers too, you know. I think it's important. Jess is a writer herself, as well as she does transcriptions and stuff, which is mind-blowing to me. It's so funny, like when she started it, it's so funny how I never really thought about transcription and how important it is to everything. and being a transcriptionist, it's like it's like people need people to, you need to have records of stuff, like right now, like this video right now, I would, it'd go well that for me to have like a written kind of thing. Hey Frank, what's going on, man? I love that name, Frank Spinelli. It's a cool name, dude. That's Frank's, man. I think when you hear Frank, you know we're Frank. But anyway, yeah, when Jeff started getting into transcription stuff, man, I was like, whoa, man. Like, I think, because for me, what blew my mind is the fact that you think of transcriptionists as people, like, for me, when I just think of it, I just think of a person in court. Like they're just sitting here and they're just sort of, typing on that weird machine and stuff like that. But they're everywhere, man. Just like in medical billing, all that stuff. So it's really crazy, man. But Jess is also, Jess, who was my wife, she's also a writer as well. And we've had a lot of conversations about the whole thing about writers and stuff like that. And how can a writer be able to showcase their skills and stuff, which is a real thing. I mean, I, as an illustrator, I'm capable of showing you what I'm able to do. Like right now, this video, you're able to see what my skill set is and stuff like that. But as a writer, like, how does a writer showcase what they're capable of doing? I mean, I suppose they could write stuff, and if you're witty enough, and people can, but that is a mystery and stuff. But anyway, yeah, I didn't know anything about transcriptions and stuff, but she's definitely educated me to it. It's definitely something that, yeah. It's like a necessary. It's one of those jobs where you go, yeah, it's a necessary gig, which is pretty cool. I'm so glad that everyone is here. I'm so glad you guys are hanging out with me. Wow, 15 likes, man. All right, much love, much love. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Listening to some jams and drawing Godzilla Gojira. Yeah, man, Godzilla is fun. He's a fun character. And then in my head, again, another character I really love is Gamera. I do love Gamera the Turtle, and surprisingly, I'm not drawing a lot of Gamera stuff. This is always the it's like, because of the fact that I'm working, is that just not enough time. I almost wish I can clone myself so that I can be working on numerous different pieces. How cool would that be? Oh, jeez. I'm sure every artist has been there where they've just been like, man, if I can only clone myself. Just maybe 2 or 3 of me is just working constantly. But yeah, I love Gamera. I did that pretty wild piece where it was a Gamera, Godzilla's on Gamera's back. Godzilla 2014, and he's on Gamera's back. The Gamera, I used the Gamera design from the Legacy films, because I consider it the most updated versions of Gamera. And Gamera's kind of flying Godzilla on his back. Again, that's that weird humor. Like for me, when I draw this stuff, I'm so heavily influenced by the Showa era stuff. So I love that level of that kind of quirky kind of humor where monsters riding on monsters' backs and stuff like that. But also a hinge of seriousness too, because I mean, again, people died in those movies. It was like they had a great way of sort of intertwining that in there, where there would be death. Even the brutality of how the monsters battled. Look at Hedorah, the smog monster. This scene where it's just like, what is it, the gases that Hedorah releases, and the next thing you know, you see skeletons. I mean, that's... Even as a kid, I saw that, I knew that was death. So they were done really well. Like, for me, as a child, it wasn't as shocking. So overpoweringly shocking that it was kind of, but I understood what it was, and I think that's that fine line that I love in work. Like for me, if I was gonna show like, murder or death and stuff, I tend to use a lot of the techniques like in noir movies, like in the old school, like shadows and stuff like that, instead of just hardcore bloodshed and whatever. Even though I've watched my number of splatter films and stuff like that, I've seen some films, but me as an artist, I tend to, there's always this thing where I made a promise to myself. I want kids to be able to look at my work too. Young people to be able to look. There's that fine line where I do. I want people to be able to enjoy it. I don't want people to be so like, ugh, like, oh God, you know. I want them to be able to enjoy it. Just like how I watch those movies. I want it to be like, I want to do violence, that I want my violence to be really thought out. To the point where it's like, okay, you get this idea, but do I need to show a person's holding their bow, you know, they're engorged or whatever and stuff like that, and just show all the nuttiness and stuff, the grossness? No, I don't need to show that. But you can get a sense that this was a nasty battle. I'm really hoping, like, let's see, I worked with Matthew Blair on this comic book pitch for this kaiju concept, and fingers crossed. Hopefully somebody can see the worth in it, because it's like I was able to do some really cool like fight scenes and stuff in it, and I really feel good. It's like it's one of those things where, given if it gets a chance, then I can be able to really push a lot of that stuff, that old school kind of, you know, fighting and stuff like that you can see in comic books. That's what I always loved. You know, I was never about the gore or anything. It's just the fact that like you see combat and really thinking about that combat. So fingers crossed, you guys put a little wish out there that this concept that I wish I could say the name, because it's still like we haven't really shared the name of it yet, but it's, you know, hopefully maybe the winter spirit out there can help us to find a home for it. It's a really good piece, it's a really good concept, and it definitely works in the lines of what my strengths are and stuff, is my love for the genre. You know, as somebody, I've drawn other different things. I've drawn some horror stuff, zombies and things like that. But, you know, again, it just makes me really excited to be working on stuff that, working on the genre that I truly, truly love. Yes, Richard, I still do commissions, individual commissions and stuff. Yes. I can definitely you can definitely DM me and stuff. I think there's something about like seeing someone drawing on actual, like, you know, paper and stuff. I think that there's a magic to that, you know. And again, like you know, I use a Wacom tablet and stuff like that, and I know there's a lot of people who use Cintiq and stuff like that. Don't take away from it, but there's still something to be said, like when you draw on something physical, and if there's a physical object right there in front of you. It's just like sculpting. Like, there's a lot of stuff that looks cool on ZBrush. I think ZBrush is amazing, but boy, nothing beats seeing something right in front of you that's been, you know, honed by the hands of a human being. And you're sitting there and it's just right there in front of you. Like, you know, they use some Sculpey. I don't know what kind of other stuff that they probably use. I don't know, because I haven't really dabbled into sculpting in a long time. So I know Sculpey was a big thing, but you know, but I mean, just to physically see it, it's like that's why I'm always amazed when I see people that can build stuff. There's a person by the name of Wilson who does some of these classic super robots, and he's been doing, I think, Voltus V out of like wood, and that's, I mean, what do you say to that? What do you say to that? That's just, man, that's incredible. That's incredible. Like, that's the kind of stuff where I don't ever see that getting old. That'll never get old. Never. If you can make something by hand and physically people can hold on to it, then that kind of stuff will never get old. That's why I don't worry about stuff when people talk about, they go, well, you know, computers and stuff like that. I'm like, no, I don't worry about that stuff. I think eventually when I'm probably like 60 or 70, I think I could probably eventually call myself a master artist. I don't know if I'm a master artist yet. I've been in it for 30 years, so give it a couple more years. If I can do another 10 years, maybe I can gain the title of master. I don't know what it means to be a master artist when you reach that level of master. been at it for so long. But I do know that there's something again that's very special when it's just pen and paper. You know, it's very raw. It's very like, you know, like this right here, as you guys are seeing. I'm drawing water. You know, micron pen, just me and the water. There's no me fudging anything. You know, no effects or anything. It's just me just laying it out. I gotta remember that. So I'm probably gonna do the cutoff right here, and then I'll probably add the city more before I forget. I just wanted to give it like a drop, you know, give the illusion that there's a mountain, and then it's almost like you see the corner of it, and then you get the city. So I gotta draw this kind of city. And actually, what I'll do is, let me do it really quick right now, because sometimes I'll forget. So I'm gonna use using my little paper mate right here. So you guys see it? A little paper mate. So like a lag and again, I always get people that always ask me, "Oh, what kind of tools are you using?" It's like, dude, I use just about any and everything. I mean, I went through that phase when you start drawing all kind of using expensive tools and everything, but it's expensive, you know. And again, the life when you become a professional artist and stuff, the key thing is that you want to try to keep your overhead expenses down because it costs money, you know. You want to be able to get the tools that you know you can really use. But you don't want to, you know. Yeah, you just don't want to be spending a lot of money for stuff that you really don't need. That's my whole point. I've seen people, you know, use ballpoint pens and they create the most amazing artwork. You know, certain things, yeah. Like again, the Pinto brushes and stuff. I got tons of those microns. See, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing right here. So you got some fires and stuff. And actually, you know what? Oh, darn it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put that down because I want to have it like so. I'm gonna actually. This is why it's always so good. So actually, think of it like this. See if you guys can engage where my head is going. So it's almost like this lava. The idea is that I wanted to show like lava coming down the hill, and then you get the smoke. So you get the smoke of the lava and it's burning. So it's almost like you get these canals and stuff. So technically, it would be like a waterfall. So I'm gonna draw this nice hard line right there. So that's almost like I may draw. And there's another one right here to sort of inching its way. So yeah, so you guys can see, so it's sort of going down. You see the smoke and everything. All right, so let's bring out the Pinto brush. Get a little drink of some juice. All right. Good. Now, don't be afraid. Just go in there. Pull some of that eraser dust out the way. Now, usually I use a kneaded eraser too. That would probably be like if you say a pro eraser. I use a kneaded. All right. So I got a couple of I'll call them little veins of molten lava. So that's one right there. So when it gets all colored up and stuff, you can kind of see it a lot better. But and actually there was another one right there that I had, so I just draw that right there, kind of inching its way. All right, so you know what? I'm just gonna jump around a little bit. Hope you guys don't mind. All right, so I'm going to righty then. Now, what I tend to do like rocks. Again, it's all just brushwork. Little hits here and there. A little feathery, not too much. All right, there you go. A little bit. Get up in here. There you go. A little bit on the edges. I'm gonna give it a little lift, so it feels like it's deep. So you see that it's dug right into the earth, kind of. Look right there, little rise. Okay, come on. Come on, don't fight me. Right, there we go. All right, here we go. Right, I'm gonna do this like a little hill right there. And this is how it works. It's like you could blame it on Bob Ross too. Blame everything on Bob Ross. The happy little accidents and stuff. Kind of like, again, I don't overthink it. I just go, okay, and then stuff just kind of comes. There's times where I've worked on things and I'm just like, oh man, why did I wasn't even thinking of something, and all of a sudden it just feels so right. I love when that happens. I don't know if many various artists or even writers and stuff get that whole thing where you haven't even thought of something, and all of a sudden it's like boom, you get this burst of like, you do something and it's just like, oh man, that works. Put a little bit of that. See the thin lines right in good there. Now the city, I'm probably gonna go for more like, think of like a John Ritter Jr. kind of sketchy kind of view of the city and stuff like that. Because I literally wanted just to, just show that it's been devastated, and stuff. Like you just get the hits of it. This is where some of the stuff that I learned in advertising, where, like in advertising we use like spot color and stuff like that. So it wasn't like it wasn't meant to be like final art. You know what I mean? Final artwork is stuff that would be like on magazine covers and things like that, where you really gotta, cross your T's, dot your I's kind of stuff. But this right here is where it's like, yeah, it's just finished art, but I want the city. I don't want to focus on the city. That's the thing. I want the eyes to sort of travel. I want your eyes to sort of travel through a loop and just come right onto these guys. Everything else is inconsequential to me, because again, they're just here as little placements, just to give you a sense of the environment. Even the calico, like the calico wasn't going to be so detailed, but again, I want to have the reference so I can know how the ship looks. So I'll probably do a little thin line, technically to the level of what I did right here for the spines. Right here, like I just, it's just. It's just little line work and stuff. So you get a sense of the spines, he's coming to the light, but you get the sense of his whole body. Maybe I'll draw a little bit right in there. There you go. What time is it? 10:25. Oh man. All right. Hope everybody's doing good. And I'm so glad. Once again, thank you so much for just hanging out with me. If you're still here and stuff like that. Pretty good speed. I can't believe it. I'm glad that I did the this part right here first. Earlier this week and stuff. And I did a video, which if you go on my YouTube channel, you can see the hyperlapse video that I did, which was really good. A lot of people like that and stuff. But yeah, I when I thought about it, I said, yeah, I don't want to, I did the longest video I did, what one video I did, that was the Shogun Warrior. The Shogun Warrior and Humanoids piece. It was like 4 hours long. It's a 4 hour long, drawing video. It's pretty intense. So this one, I wanted to be able to give some of the hyperlapse where you see me pencil out the Godzilla and then do the inking of it. So I thought that would be a good way to balance it, and that may be a new future thing that I do as a way so people can see different versions, so you don't feel like you have to stick there for hours and hours watching me ramble on and stuff. It's like, god dang, that dude, man, he could drag him here, man. Yeah, I can. I'll admit that. I'll drag you here. I'm a New Englander, man. We talk that talk. I always joke with Jess sometimes, like, I'm always wrong. Like, I think my New England accent comes out if I'm angry, like if I'm really, like, talking fast. or angry, then all of a sudden my New England accent starts like, Although I have yet to see anyone who talks like the Kennedys, like JFK and stuff like that. That's so weird. Like it's rare. I've heard a Rhode Island woman before. It was pretty interesting. Saw like a program and stuff, and they had this woman who was on there. Woof, man, that was something. It was like, oh man, I love it. I love hearing the different dialects. I don't know. I've always been a fan of that. Even when I would go up to New York and stuff, New Yorkers, I would get into conversations with people just to hear them talk. I'm like, yo, say something, man. They'd be looking at me, say something, man. I love it. I just love dialects. I love people, man. I think that people talk about like if you ever had a past life or whatever. I think my past life I probably was some traveler or something. I probably traveled around and talked to different people and stuff like that. I love that stuff. Learning and whatever. Alright. It's looking pretty good. I'm feeling good about it. I think that's one of the key things you got to remember is that you want to feel good about a piece. Just like I said earlier, there's certain things I can look at that piece that I did back in 2014, and I can what I call my squincy, where I go, squincy. But it's not something where it's going to, incapacitate me. Like I'm like, oh my God, and constant and go online and start talking about it and start telling people about it and whatever. No, man, I'm not like that. I'd be like, it's done. I did it. It's done. I'm glad I did it, and I move on. One of the things I tell most new artists out there, the biggest thing you should learn, like if I can tell you anything, is that the ability to sort of move onto different things, not get so locked down into the whole emotional thing, especially when it comes to working on projects and stuff like that. There's many times where you may have to do editing, your stuff's gonna get edited and stuff like that. You care about it, yes, you're passionate about it, but the thing about it is that sometimes if it's something where you feel like it's worth the fight, then yeah, if you can bring a solid case to why change shouldn't happen, then sure, I'm sure that the people that you're working with want to hear it and stuff like that. But if it's just something because you don't want to change it, then I don't know, that may not work. That's just a little professional advice right there. Take it as you want it. You got some nice jams, man. That free copyright music on YouTube, man. I was looking around. I was like saying, I want to look for funky beats. I love music, man. I love instruments. My mom got me. I remember my mom got me the violin, man, when I was a kid. Ugh. I was like, man, I want a guitar. I want a cool thing. Girls like guys that have a guitar, or what was the other thing? The drums. It's like, the dude looks cool with the drums. Something cool. She was like, nope, violin. I think I learned how to do Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and that was it. I think before I had to hand it over. Not throwing shade on violins either, but I'm just saying. I was more of a, in my head, I thought it was Jimi Hendrix. Yeah. I still have that dream in my head, like somebody can pick a guitar up and magically be able to strum it off, just creating all kind of crazy sounds and stuff, and be like, yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I think it's probably me and 1,000 other people have that dream. Yeah, I'll stick to art. Oh man, that's looking pretty good, huh? I'm feeling this. Hey, what do you guys think? How's this coming along? Let me know. Don't be shy. Come on now. I know you guys are out there watching. It's like the Truman Show. I know you guys are watching. They see everything. Anyway. I've learned well, I always had like a really crazy kind of quirky sense of humor. My humor, I would say, I was telling Jess the other day, I said, if I was a character, honestly, and I don't want to freak people out, but the movie Goodfellas, like, what's his name? Ray Liotta's character. He'll probably be me, to a certain degree. Minus the womanizing and all that stuff, but the way his personality was, so I consider myself more like an athlete, where you're likable, like people like I can talk and whatever. If I had to throw it down, I had to throw it down. I'm like more like, that's my whole persona. Is just like you know, you got to do what you got to do. but I wouldn't go around trying to talk smack to people and stuff like that. No, my family wasn't like that, man. My mom was always like, don't let your mouth get your butt in trouble. She would say it much more colorful than what I'm saying now. But and I live by that, you know. I never let my mouth got my butt in trouble. And if I did was talking stuff, then you had to handle it. You know, you just be like, well, this is how it is. This is the rules. You gotta handle it. You'd be like, I ain't no punk. But yeah, I would say I'm closest to like that kind of mentality. I'm just like, it is what it is. I don't get too crazy. Alright. Here's Frank starting to do all those weird noises. Oh, dude, I know I'm not the only one who makes weird noises, man, while you're drawing. Oh, that's what I mean. Like, there's no way that I could do like one of those YouTube things, because how could I be talking to people in the in the chat, man, and all of a sudden my brain's all like, that's how my brain goes. It's just like, I start getting into the world, I start making noises and stuff. Oh man, this time I remember once I was drawing like a piece. God, what was it? I think it was Dr. Doom or something. And all of a sudden I was like imitating, like trying to act like how Dr. Doom would act. Yeah, it was crazy. I got popped up for a second, walking around trying to just get the character in my head, the sense of how he would be. You know? Can't be doing that stuff on stream, man. You'd be like popping up and doing all crazy. Like a monster and throwing around and thrashing. No. Let's see. Man, look at you guys. You guys are coming along, man. I do feel like I gotta do some giant robot stuff though soon though. I do. So see, that's what I mean. It's like I got this list of crazy different things, man. It's never enough time. Never enough time. I mean, oh man. And again, when people give suggestions and stuff, for me, just drawing this, it's a big thing for me. It's not like it's something where I just, you just read out a drawing. I have to think of a scenario, like its story has to fit in my head and be like, okay, now it works. It's not like I just read, I just draw out. Like these set of drawings are all based off of like this weird idea concept that I have. It's not like I'm just drawing I'm just like, oh, no. I'm drawing this because this is based off of an idea, a concept. And it has a story going on to it. And now I'm able to build a story, and then I can get excited about it. But just drawing a character. Like when I do stuff like that, even when I try to draw characters, like just whatever, some kind of weird character, that's just, I have nothing. They won't look as detailed as this. They'll just be like these weird sketches and stuff, that I'll just have, and I'll just be like, okay, I'm done. And then I'll just get rid of it. That's pretty cool, huh? But yeah, so it's not an easy thing. It's a very, it's a deep kind of thing going on here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can't wait. I just got this book called what is it called? Showdown? No, hold on a second. Just got it too. Fucking freaking brain not working. All right. I just got this one, the Kaiju score right here. I'll show this real quick. If anybody has seen it yet. Oh, let me refresh the page. Yeah, let's see. So I just got this and stuff, so I gotta read that Kaiju score just to see, It makes me happy that people are you know, like again, various people are doing stuff, you know, that aligns with the genre, and it makes me very happy. It's a good time, so you know. And I've been fortunate enough to work on a couple of different stories that are part of the genre as well that have gotten published. So, you know, that makes me very happy. I'm part of that, and many others are coming out and doing stuff. So, you know. All right, here we go. Oh. So I'm gonna do the waters. Okay, so let's see. Let's do these waters. All right. Do 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 do. All right. Let's see. It's always interesting when you do water and stuff. I love these from the 70s and 80s when they would do water. It's just beautiful like lines and just, you know, tell like this guy the brush and he just squiggly, squiggly, squiggly. Oh man, all right. Let me see if I can get a little bit of this tube, this dimensional tube. Now before, in the first one here, I'll just show you another quick peek. In this original one right here, I just did like the shimmering line. But this time around, I want to kind of add a little bit more to it, play around with it a little bit more. So I'm going to add a little shimmer, like kind of, you know, yeah. So it looks like it's a time thing, and it's like I actually want to show like put some white dots into it and stuff. So it's almost like space, you know, like they're going through the dimensional wall between worlds. All right, let's see what we got here. Not bad. It's been like over 2 hours. Well, maybe 4 hours. I think I started at 8. No, it's not 12 yet, so maybe 3 hours. Not bad. Hope everyone's been enjoying themselves and stuff. Listening to the rants of a madman. Oh man, a nut. All right. But seriously, thank you for coming by and on this Saturday. Chilly Saturday too, man. Northeast up here, and got some snow out here. And I'm just glad you just came by and stuff. This is my last draw stream for the year, so just glad you're here. We'll see what happens in the new year. Know what I'm on. All right. Hit that with a little bit of feather effect. Man, I always get so glad. I get so glad when things just come together. Cause that one moment where I'm just like, oh, it's gonna come together. I don't know. All I can do is just. So I'm gonna hit this. Usually, what I do for my Kirby crackles, I just kind of just go nuts and hit it in it because I don't want it to be too perfect. The whole purpose is that for me, it shouldn't look clean. You know, you can come in and dress it up a little more, but not too much. Here you go. Put a couple small ones in there. Kind of show like there's a. Couple of little like waves and stuff like that, so it's kind of some lines and stuff. I have a through there and stuff like that. Just add a little bit more dimension in there. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Oh boy. So happy that everyone is hanging out and stuff with me and stuff. I really appreciate it. Much love. And you know, definitely get your art on, man. All right. So what we're gonna do here? I'm gonna draw a little bit indication, but yeah. So now what I'm gonna do here is this is all gonna be freehand. It's gonna be just freehand and me just doing some structures. Really quick, fast pace, steady hand. And actually what I may do is I'll use the what I may do is use the Pinto brush to kind of come in and add more thicker lines and stuff. But yeah, it's just a nice technique where it's just kind of like you just, you know, you want to show stuff at a distance. You want to give a sense of a city, but also you don't want to make it so detailed and stuff like that that it sort of takes away from what you really want people to be focusing on. So I'm just giving you the idea of the city, but I really don't want you to be investing in how detailed the city is and stuff like that. So a couple of tall buildings in here and stuff like that, you know. I'll put some fires in here. And the thing about it was funny is that, well, not really funny, but I wanted to show like burning and stuff like that, where this city's clearly burning, and the guys that don't even care, they're just like, hey, you know, hey man, what's going on? You busy? Kinda, you know. Yeah, a bunch of boats and stuff like that. Yeah. Just come in. And I love it. I love it when it just looks kind of, you know, very sketchy. Yeah. I remember I had one that, like, my teacher always loved. He loved my sketchy stuff. He loved, you know, he was like, yeah, he's like, Frank, you got that nice kind of sketchy, kind of really fast, you know, that you can really see stuff. Me personally, I don't like it, you know. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm more like, you know, what you see right here. It's more finished kind of. Let me get a little bit of tone in there too, in the belly. Squint the eye and see how the shadows are looking, you know what I mean? Come in, So put little fires in there and stuff. Maybe some kind of tower or something, you know what I mean? Yeah, let me just see if anybody said anything. So, what do? Just throw some little stuff in there, you know? I always find like things like this is just. Well, John Byrne, if you look at how he did his buildings and stuff like that, the same thing. Like you just add these little lines and geometric shapes, and it worked. Yeah. So you just draw this little thing and some structures back there. Okay. I love it. Nice and sketchy. And get some fires and stuff going on. So, but yeah, the things like try to draw the streets, the trees, parking lots. Yeah. Love it. Probably put like forest or something in there. So yeah, simple enough. Just a couple little hits here and there. Hey Cole, how you doing? Thanks for sharing the super robots. Yeah, I tried to share, but then I didn't want to get pinged by Facebook and stuff, and they put me in the Facebook jail for a little bit if I start posting too crazy. So I really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing it and stuff. I'm always so very leery because if I'm not drawing something that isn't more robot based, I'm never sure if that's the right thing to kind of post in there and stuff. I know that I'm going to be doing some robot stuff. I'm feeling the itch for it. So it's something, I gotta start thinking about some things, but I really like this theme right here, and at this point I'm really focusing on Godzilla, pretty much meeting all the different versions of Godzilla from different parallel universes and stuff. So this has kind of got me intrigued. Again, thank you so much, everyone who's come by and come check me out, what I'm doing. Yeah, just kind of sort of doing freehanding little city structure down here. Now these right here are like pretty much the story so far is the Hanna Barbara Godzilla is fighting off the Firebird. That's just come out the molten lava. This is a iconic scene from the animated show. And then what happens is they hear a noise, boom, from a dimensional portal. We see Godzilla 2014, and then also the Marvel Godzilla, because they're now joined forces. Because from the previous piece that I did, we see that that's how the first Godzilla, this is the one I did in November, you Godzilla 2014, came into the universe of the Marvel universe, where he's encountered that Godzilla as he's about to face off against Red Ronin and Yetugar. I believe that's his name. And you get the shield helicarrier. From that point, I just leave it open for the imagination of the person who's viewing the art. They could probably build an elaborate story that, what happened, why is that Godzilla now with, why is this Godzilla with that Godzilla now, and they're waving to the Hanna Barbara Godzilla to join forces with them. So I always love that kind of aspect of doing artwork, because it's just like how Frank Frazetta, when I looked at a Frank Frazetta piece, he would just do this a simple image and whatever, and then no space around the environment, just minimal. And all of a sudden you have the power to create this story. You could be like, well, man, maybe this guy was a thief, or maybe this guy was a king, and maybe this guy's fighting for his kingdom, or maybe you can build up all these great you can fill in those spaces. So that's what I love. So I've already started this story, and then people can kind of build up on it the way they see fit. But technically, I'm doing keyframes to a story, just like if I was working for a production company, a movie, I'd be like, this would be, just think of a much more larger keyframe that is part of storyboards that would guide out where the story is. But unfortunately, there's no storyboards with this. But anyway, hopefully that brought everybody up to pace. It's looking good. Let's see. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. All right. Let's see how we doing. I am surprised that I'm moving at such a good pace here. Wow. All right. So I see here. This is what I want to do. So I grabbed the white gel pen. Got the white gel pen. I don't know if you guys can see it. And I'm going to start throwing out some little lights in there. Yeah, come on. I tapped a little bit. This is probably one of the best gel pens. The Uniball Signal pen. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's really good. I've really enjoyed using it. Just come in and draw some more. I'm always amazed at people that like my more sketchier artwork. It's funny. Boom. Play around it, play with the lights a little bit, some flicker it out. Little dab right there, little dab. Okay. And that's it, Try a little bit of a couple of trees and stuff like this. This could be forest or whatever as you're driving out of the city, wherever the city is. I don't know. I think that's one of the things I miss about comic books, was the pure escapism. I didn't really care. They could call it like whatever something, and but I didn't really need it to be so accurate. I want that sort of semi-fantasy, even like when you saw when Marvel would have Spider-Man in New York and stuff, and sometimes the buildings weren't as accurate. It was okay, Didn't have to be. You knew he was in New York. I enjoy the fact that they allowed the artists the freedom to sort of, stylize it their way. Alright. Okay, let's draw. Put some little lines in there. Whew. All right, here we go. All right. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna hit a couple of these waves back here. What time is it? It's 2:58. Doing good, doing good. All right. If you guys have any questions and stuff, by all means, feel free to ask. I'm getting there. I'm actually not gonna draw the calico, the ship, just because I don't have the reference, and I want to have the reference when I put the ship in. But I'm very proud. I'm very happy that I was able to get as much as I got done today, and I'm just glad you guys were able to come by and check it out. You know. All right. All right. So we're going into 11 o'clock, and actually, I think I'm gonna wrap it up on this segment of it. 'Cause I think I'm so close now. It's like the rest is just gonna be the ocean and whatever, and so I think I got the meat of what I wanted to get done. So I'm just very happy. Yeah. Yeah, the rest is just going to be kind of ocean. Just come in there with the brush and just kind of... Cool thing about the ocean, it's just so unpredictable. When you do waves, it's like you can do all kind of weird, funky things with it. Clean those up. So it's really, there's no way you can screw it up. Am I drying out? Yeah. Yep, look at that. Drying out. Let's see. Time for... Hey, Cole. Thank you very much, bro. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Just glad so many people are digging in and stuff, and you know, like I said, I just want to try to do my small little part for the genre and stuff, you know. It's a great time. It's a great time to be a fan of this genre. And this is, when I say genre, I say of the kaiju and the giant robot or super robot genre as well. Because to me, I look at it as it goes hand in hand, you know. There's no separation of it. So it's really a great time for us fans. So, you know, I'm happy to be a part of that in some small way. See, this is what happens. I get too into it, and all of a sudden I'm like, I can't put it down. Okay, see? They keep dragging me back. All right, let's see. I want to break that.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
All right.
It sound right, boys.
See, should I put now? Now I'm sitting here and I'm going, oh man, you know what? I gotta put some excitement lines on his eyes. I gotta do it. I got to. This is what happens to me. So I'm gonna hit a little bit of. Just feather it a little bit, nice and tight. Try to keep it as tight as possible. So it's kind of like, what? Yeah, just that little extra thing. And what I do is come in and just kind of, sorry for the sideways view, guys, but you know, gotta do what I gotta do. Okay, turn it. Alright, cool. So when I do the calico, then I hope I'm saying it right. I feel like that's the name of the one. I think it was the calico. I'll have to look it up afterwards. It's killing me. If anyone knows, please post. But it was the ship that was in the Hanna Barbara Godzilla show. Because I think there was, I've got the name. I don't know if the one that was in the Zilla show, the 1990s Godzilla show, animated show, and Godzilla animated. I think that was called. Was that the Calypso?
It sound right, boy.
So anybody knows, please feel free to post in, please. Cause it's driving me crazy. I keep calling it the calico. Actually, here I'll even let me I'll check. Let's see. Bring that in there a little bit. Of course, I'll have to clean it up a little more, but it's really good, huh? That's what I wanted. I wanted the water to look really like, you know, just frog. You know, sort of just moving around these big, thick, heavy waves. Especially as you go further out. But when I get to where this ship is, then, you know, I'm going to try to pull back on it. So it's like as you get closer, it's just these waves. Clearly this wormhole is causing a disturbance. Whew. Ooh, I am tuck it out, man. I like that. It looks pretty good. All right, I'm very happy. All right, I think I'm good for now. Here you go, everyone. Let's see if you can see it pretty good. It's weird because let's see. I'm gonna see if I can refresh the page. It's really tough because it's like there's a lag, so I'm seeing stuff that's like, yeah, I'm looking at like, again, it feels like Tenet. Looking at the past like you did, but here you go. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. So this is part 3, and it's like, say 95% done. 95, so like that little 5% right there. But anyway, all right. So here, I got a little surprise for you before I call quits. Let's see. As I promised, I was going to show you some of my stuff that I did. Okay, this stuff I'm showing you right now, and I should probably bring out. Oh, I'm gonna bring out my pad. I'm gonna bring out my Bristol pad right here. Let's see if it chimes in. And because I'm gonna need that to show as I pull off that. White paper, it got some stains on it. All right. Anyway, here you go. 11 by 14. I think 11 by 14, right? 11 by 14 Strathmore Bristol. Okay, cool. Got some little stains on there. I'm doing some marker work. So anyway, the reason why I'm bringing this out because you're gonna need it. Because back then, and I can't recall what year this was, I was commissioned by an ad agency to draw keyframes for a proposed Godzilla ad, and I also did some storyboards too. It was a TV spot. So I'm going to show you the keyframes. I'll show you the keyframes, the character designs, and then the storyboards. So that should be. I'm actually getting them right now. So bear with me. Okay, here we go. All right. So here is the. I'll put them over here. Here is the. So if you can see it. This was I was commissioned by an ad agency to do some. It was a Godzilla TV ad. At that time, I did a lot of work drawing on tracing paper, but I used like the I don't know if I have one around, Prismacolor black pencil. And I don't have one available, but they were great. I think, oh, here you go. As I still got a couple. So Prismacolor black pencil, because it just had a nice quality to, like, it was dark enough, but it also kept that nice pencil kind of look, but very strong. It was very good and strong, and also when you erased, it didn't smear a lot. So that was the thing. It was like me and other illustrators were doing that and stuff. So I loved it because it allowed me to get very, like, you can get very organic with it and stuff like that. And so they definitely wanted me to draw Godzilla, but they didn't want Godzilla to be almost like too close to how Godzilla looked. It was one of those advertising things, like someone's, just in case if there's going to be some kind of right issue problem, supposed with the IP. So anyway, this was the character designs, and the character was Liu King, supposed to be like a Don King, but Asian. But then, and you had a Godzilla suit. But the thing was with that Godzilla, he had to look more like a guy in a suit kind of thing. So that's a weird kind of, like the way I did his body and stuff. It looked much more like a guy just wearing a suit. So anyway, that was the character designs. And then, let's see. I believe this was keyframe. Okay, here's keyframe 1, I believe. Yeah, it's keyframe 1. And again, it was Godzilla working out, and then Godzilla technically is grabbed some power lines, and he's like using them to jump rope. He's trying to get in shape for his big battle. So he's working out and stuff. And I think this might have been for the GameCube, now that I think about it, because I do recall, like, they came in, and the GameCube, it just came out, and it was for the Godzilla game that came with it, that they were making for it. So I think that might have been it, because it was with the big battle and stuff. But anyway, Godzilla's working out, and again, this was all done with the Prismacolor pencil. It was great too, because you get nice shading and stuff. They just love that. So the particular agency loved that. Okay. So then the other one, Godzilla's working out, and he's grabbing 2 buses, and he's picking them up and lifting them and stuff. And he's just pumping weights and stuff, So again, as you see, in advertising, it's all about just, you're supposed to get the workout. You're supposed to get a sense of the art. Art looks good, but not to the point where it's too realistic and stuff like that. It's not supposed to be finished artwork. So that's pretty much the basis of it. And then another shot right here where he's punching a Zeppelin, like a punching bag and stuff. So yeah, so it's keyframes. So keyframes are shots that are like main shots in film and stuff. These are things that they do in production, where it just shows a very powerful scene in the film and stuff. So they go, okay, we want to focus on the fact that he's punching the Zeppelin and stuff. you know. So that would be like a very serious, a keyframe. So anyway, showing him breaking a frame. That was another technique too. That was kind of nice, kind of fun. Just more nice design thing to make it interesting. And then I don't know what this was a close up of Liu King. I can't recall why I had to do that with this picture. But he's technically, look at that, look at the hands like all off and everything size wise. Oh my god. But the excitement lines, you see, I love to do the excitement lines. I got that off from advertising, but his head's all really big and his hands, they don't think on that term. They just go, okay, just to sell the idea of how this is possibly going to be. So anyway, that was done, and then here you go. Here are the storyboards. And these were storyboards. So this was another verse. So this Godzilla TV spot, as you can see right there. And then Liu King comes out, and he's announcing, that they bring fighters out and they have their people and stuff. And again, he's supposed to be, again, like the guys in suits and stuff. So King Ghidorah is being led by his people and stuff, and coming out, and he's like roaring and whatever. And then all of a sudden Godzilla's coming out. You change the camera, and I love doing stuff like this, like the extreme close up, and then you pan back and you see Godzilla's coming through with his guys, and next thing you know, you got our guy Liu King, and he's sort of skulking away and stuff as the two guys, Godzilla and King Ghidorah, are about to fight. And that was pretty much it. That was the Godzilla TV spot. And I can't recall if that was ever like, if they bought off on it and filmed it and stuff like that. I'm not sure. Have to do a YouTube search for that one, for the Godzilla fight. I forgot the name of the game. So if anybody knows that game, then please tell me. Here's another piece too. I thought might be kind of fun to show was again, tracing paper. This is the piece that I did. Originally it was just a homage piece to Greg Berger. Greg Berger did the voice for Grimlock. And so what I did was I took out my Godzilla toy. This back in 2012. Took out my Godzilla toy and just drew the toy and decided to do it. Actually, back in the day, you would ink on mini inkers would ink on vellum. I've inked on vellum before, but again, I said, let me just try doing it on tracing paper. So I inked on tracing paper, and and put Greg Berger's name on it. Harper Frankie B. Washington, Grimlock, such and such. And he really liked it. Greg liked it and stuff. But yeah, this is me actually looking, and again, you can tell by the line work and everything, it's all freehand. This is all freehand stuff, so not me really. Maybe a few stuff I used a ruler or something, or the straight bar, not straight bar, the triangle, probably. All right, there you go. And then let's see what we else we got. All right, we're gonna go into some really detailed stuff. I posted some of these online before, but these are Battle Dragon pages. All right, let's see. This is Battle Dragon pages 93 and 62. The original images of the dragons was done in 2004 and submitted to Spartacus Publishing, LLC for the RPG book. Revised the image 11/8/2012. So originally these were done in 2004, which would make them 16 years old. But then I revised some of the images in 2012 to add on it. So here you go. And these appeared in Battle Dragon, the RPG book. And there you go. And again, I'm all about, like, as any commercial illustrator, you think about efficiency and using your space and whatever. So what I did originally was, and I knew what I did. Originally when I drew these, they had no backgrounds. So if you ever had the Battle Dragon book, these were just static images. I mean, this guy had a little bit of ground and stuff, but they're static images. I actually added in the backgrounds and stuff in 2012. I think that's how it worked. The same thing here, I added it in. But these are pretty intense drawings. These is like, when I was doing RPG game stuff, it was really super like penmanship stuff, And I try to express to people, I'm like, this is great for one-off, but look at that tongue, Jesus, insane. But to me, I can never see myself wanting to do a sequential comic this way. Cover, pen up, but never something to this level. It's really insane. The cross hatching on there, I was insane. God, I don't even know what kind of pen I was using at the time. 2004. Yeah, it might have been microns. I imagine a micron because I think I got rid of rapidiographs back in the 90s. Rapidiographs used to drive me crazy. All right, so there you go, those. And then here's the other ones. Let's see on the back. That's one of the things about it. I always try to write notes and stuff. Battle Dragons, page 65, page 79. The original images, Dragon was done in 2000. Once a minute, yep, okay. So it's always good to note if anyone ever wanted to purchase these, and they can have a, a history of it and stuff. And then I end up writing in red to signify, because I hadn't signed them before, but I signed it in 2012. But again, this is me adding an extra stuff to it. These originally didn't have any backgrounds and stuff, but I added stuff in there and stuff, so yeah. And this would have been, I think this was all probably me, not even using the pen tool, this would have been me doing the brush with Sumi ink, and then adding in some whiteout in there and stuff. Pretty intense. I like this guy. Grr. Yeah, it was intense. So there you go. You guys enjoying it? And then let's see what else we got. Actually, I'll show you something a little different. This was something I did the artwork. I was commissioned to do the artwork. I forgot the name of this character. I don't know if it's Final Fantasy, I think. But I did the artwork, but this was the patch that was made, the custom patch that was made of the character. The artwork's up somewhere. It was one of those big characters and stuff, but I thought it might be fun for you guys to see. Looks pretty good, huh? I'm always amazed at when they did the patchwork, how much of the detail they got, it's a lot of detail in this character. It's ironically, this is the kind of characters that I normally wouldn't want to draw, because I don't know, I'm from the old school of just showing less, less, because then as you show less, you can really get the spirit of the character, and as drawing sequential artwork, you could do a lot of action with this character. If I was to have to redraw this character sequentially, I wouldn't even know where to begin. Just to show this character in action, it would be I'd have to do a lot of cheating, a lot of shadows probably, to get away with a lot of stuff, which would really bum me out a lot. But anyway, as a standalone image, I love it. I think it looks great. So anyway, yeah, and this is a nice Velcro back and stuff. Yeah. All right. So there you go. Got his name though. Okay, and the final piece I'm gonna be showing you guys is the final piece will be Pet Card Party. This was a commission. I want to say I did this in maybe 2018 or 2019. But it was someone who wanted me to draw their dogs and their cats and their cat, and the card game scenario. And again, I always try to stress with commercial illustrators. I don't say the term. I don't use the term commercial illustrator as some kind of I don't know. It's so weird to even think of, but almost elitist kind of way. I use it as a term because that's what I am. A commercial illustrator is a contractor. That means if you say you're a commercial illustrator, that means that you're a person capable of working in the art industry. You're not specializing in one form of area of the industry. That means that you can bounce around in different areas of the industry. That means you can work in animation, you can work in film, you can work in TV, you can work in comic books, and you can bounce around. So in this instance right here, I've done pet art in the past, but I had done it for a long time, and this person came to me, and I did end up doing two pieces. I did a really beautiful piece of one of their dogs. I can't think of the name of the dog. It might have been that dog right there. And it was like a very anthropomorphic, and the dog was like it was hiking and stuff like that, and it was all hand done, hand colored, and everything. Very beautiful piece. So they commissioned me to do that piece, and then they commissioned me to do this piece. And this piece was, it was drawn. I did it black and white, but then they just wanted the digital, like me to color it digitally, and then they'll do like have a print of it made. So that's okay. So I drew this piece, so that's why I own this piece. I still have this original, and I just colored it digitally, and then I sent them the digital file. But yeah, so yeah, I draw animals. I draw pretty much anything. Of course in my style, but as you can see, yeah, I love that. Look at that. Yeah, nice strokes and stuff. The cat. Yeah. Really well done. I like it. So anyway, that's it. Where we're at, 11:23. Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just like to show you guys again, I've done some comic book stuff, and his Legend of Logs that just came out. It's available at Alterna Comics, $1.99, issue 2, on newsprint. And again, I got a chance to do this short story in it. I don't want to ruin it or whatever for you. But yeah, Frankie B. Washington right there. I like that. Art, sound, effects. It says story by Shit, and then art, sound, effects. Yeah. And title. So I got all that. All hand done. I don't consider myself a logo artist or anything like that. And I always tell people that. But you know, stuff like this, if it's something I can just sort of hand draw or whatever, I'll put it in there. But I don't want to ruin for anybody. I actually do some Zippertone in the computer. This is not Zippertone on the actual artwork, although I have done so in the past. But it just makes it much more easier. It came out pretty good, you know, and I'm very happy that I had the opportunity to work on this, and I hope to work on more stuff on Legend of Log. So anyway, yeah. So there you go. All right, I believe this is a wrap. All right, so I'd like to again thank everyone for joining me, and I really do wish all of you a very happy holiday. Stay positive and keep that art flowing. That's it, you know. If you got a passion, follow your passion, follow that dream, be consistent, hold in your heart the sense of professionalism, understand that your rep and your reputation is everything, especially if you're looking to get into this kind of career, and don't give up, you know, keep going. Don't let nothing stop you if this is what you truly want. So anyway, take care, and Frankie B is out. Peace.